always late. Wait for you guys to get the kinks figured
Man, you guys already put it out there. We're live, man.
We are
out.
live. We are live.
Hey,
Welcome,
I don't say
everyone.
anything behind the scenes I wouldn't say right on here. So,
Hey, what would it be like without any technical difficulties, right?
I know, right? Hey,
I've had
we're
enough of
live
that
though.
this
So,
week.
hello everyone. Thank you for joining us and
Yeah,
dealing with
sorry,
our
sorry for the
technical
delay.
difficulty.
Sorry for the delay, everyone. We had some technical difficulties,
Hey,
so I think we
uh,
got it worked out though.
yeah, that's what happens when you take a break, man. We took a break last week, and it's like we forgot how everything works. Oh, I forgot how everything works.
Mind haze. That's how my mind feels right now. As a matter of fact,
Oh man, I need this after this week. Major outages.
yours isn't even comparing to mine. I can promise you.
Yep.
Mm, I mean,
So
I'll let you have that one, but I don't know.
so welcome everyone to the Home Theater Hub number 35. I can't believe we got 35 episodes in. We did skip last week. Hope everyone had a fantastic 4th of July. My family and me, we went to Disney for 4th of July. Had a fantastic time. And now, unfortunately, everyone but me is sick. So my wife's been sick since Monday. My mother-in-law has been sick since Monday also, and now my son, I had to pick him up early from school today. So my vacation that was supposed to be hanging a bunch of drywall has not been very productive, unfortunately, because I've been taking care of a bunch of sick people. But
Yeah.
I did make some progress. Family first. Got to take care of them. Got to make sure they're well. They're doing well. As long as I'm well, that. That's why my background is red today. I feel like I'm. I feel like I'm on an episode of The Quiet Place, right? So
Oh
every
man. Hopefully, like the first one, not the second one. But
yeah,
but uh, but yeah, as long as everyone is doing well, that's good. When you came on initially, you had your mask on, and I was like, oh, that's very considerate of you, trying not to give me COVID. But then you
yeah.
took it off, and I'm like, ah, man,
I'm giving you. I'm giving you an illness through the internet.
cyber vid. So, but yeah, we're thankful that everyone is doing much better, and no hospital visits or anything crazy
Yeah,
required. So that's
yeah.
always good
Just
news.
just fevers and the normal flu stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I mean my mother-in-law and my wife are actually making the turn now, so they're actually doing better. But my son just started, so it's inevitable that I'm going to get this thing. But I'm doing everything that I can not to get this illness. But trying to stay my distance. But yeah, no. So how was your guys' 4th of July, Paul? How was your 4th of July?
Oh man, I had a good time. I went camping early. I just actually this as soon as Mwave ended, like literally as soon as Mwave ended, I went to Colorado for a week. Had an amazing time. Made some videos that can be seen on my Facebook and Instagram, and I did the same thing this past week. Um, Going paddleboarding at on um, Beaver Lake at a special little secret spot that my video kind of tells you where it's at. But even if you know where it's at, you can't find it. It's that. it's that.
Is that like your secret fishing hole?
Oh man, it's like you. It is, and it's not even on purpose. Like if it's raining or anything, you literally have to cross over a waterfall, like rock bed waterfall. Like I don't even know how some of the cars that are back there, I'm like, they know exactly how to maneuver that thing because there's like 8-inch drops on this little, you know, waterfall rock bed that you have to
Wow.
maneuver over. and and whenever you go back there, there's like no signs. There's tons of signs from people that live back there that say private property, private property, private property, don't enter, all over. And the one place that you're supposed to go looks like the most private drive ever, and it's super narrow. I mean, it doesn't look like a public access at all. So even if you know it's there, people will go back there and they'll turn right back around because they're like, I can't find it. It's one of those type of spots. It's really fun though. That's cool. Like I said, I made a little video on it, and it looks amazing.
That's awesome. So, how about you, Ike? What did you partake in for the 4th of July?
Just the usual, right? Grilling, and we had a couple of friends over for the weekend, so there was plenty of kids and barbecue, and that was it. Just fun. It was actually a longer week for me because I was off like Wednesday, Thursday, and then right into the weekend. So
okay,
yeah, but we had a good time, swell time.
Yeah, we had a pretty good time at Disney. I got to. My son is now 42 inches, so I got to ride some of the larger roller coasters now. So I actually did the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster for the first time. Yeah. Man, that thing was incredible. I don't know if you guys have ever rode that thing, but I mean, there's no loops or anything like that, but it's pretty intense. I got to admit that there's one part where there's a big moon in the middle of, like, you're in the dark, first of all, and you're all indoors. And there's a part where there's a huge moon that's kind of lit up, and you are circling this moon. And not only does the cart turn, it like turns towards the moon, but then you're going backwards and upside down and everything else like that. Yeah, man, it was fantastic. It was a great ride.
That does sound pretty cool. So.
It was by far the best roller coaster I've ridden in a long time. So it was really, really fun. So
yep.
So let me get this straight. You went to Mwave a couple weeks ago, surrounded by 500 people, traveled through airports, didn't get sick.
Nope.
You go to one place that your family chooses, and everyone's sick but you.
Trust me.
A good immunity. I'm like, wow.
Well, I think what happened was that because my mother-in-law and my wife, they were riding rides together, and I was riding rides with my son. So I think they picked up something from whatever one of the rides on, and then they actually wound up getting sick. And then my son, he was sleeping next to my wife and all that stuff. So he finally got, he finally called it. So hopefully I can avoid it. I've been hand sanitizer and mask and trying to stay away as much as I can.
I mean, as much people are drooling over all the equipment at Mwave, I'm surprised you didn't.
Yeah, well, it's good. Sometimes.
Yep.
Sometimes you'd rather be, I guess, lucky, if that's the right phrase to use, or
yeah. One thing that we didn't do though, we nobody at Disney was wearing masks or anything like that. Maybe some of the employees, but we did not take the hand sanitizer, and that was a mistake. So if you're going to frequent a place like that, just make sure you do carry your hand sanitizer, and
yeah.
This isn't a health show.
That's why you make direct contact and all that. I still use it, and it's not just because of the damn vid or whatever, but other things are lurking around. So
oh yeah.
The older we get,
it's crazy if you don't have kids and you don't leave the house and you work remote, you just don't get sick. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Welcome back, Eric. How are you, sir?
I'm good, guys. How y'all doing?
Good.
Glad. Except Mwave, we did see you at Mwave. That was cool.
Yeah.
Glad to see that you came back. So how was your 4th of July?
Oh man. So I got to so I'm a middle-aged white guy, so I apparently have to have a Corvette. And I took my Corvette out to a 4th of July parade, and I was in the parade, and it was a lot of fun. It's actually a lot of fun.
That's
being
awesome.
that guy. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then we just hung out with the wife, hung out with friends. It was a good weekend. Good
Don
4-day
doesn't have
weekend.
Don doesn't have a Corvette, does he? Or maybe he does.
No,
No.
he's spending all that on the construction of his room that's never going to be done. Apparently.
Yeah, no, I did get some accomplished. I'm hoping that I can get some more accomplished, at least so I don't waste all of my vacation. Because the vacation was taken to do the actual build out, but I did get some work done. Hopefully, I can at least get. I'm just hoping to get the rest of the drywall hung. I do have one full layer of drywall everywhere. Probably 2 layers of drywall through 2/3 of the other room. So I only got about 1/3 left to hang drywall. But and then I got to start mudding and corner beading. And man, since I've done corner bead, they have like 40 different corner bead products now. So it was, yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of different corner bead products, that you can actually use. You got the old fashioned metal, and then you got metal covered with paper, and that extends past the corner bead to make it a little bit easier. And
Yeah, I think that's the one that I use. That's a lot easier to mod than when you're trying to mod on the metal one.
Mhm.
The ones
I
that
know
have
I
the
bought,
little
yeah, I know I bought, and then
circle.
I had to go back to Home Depot and get the one with the paper because, look, I'd like drywall. I'll build anything. I don't like modding, man.
yeah,
I don't.
yeah. It
I'll
takes
come help
it
you out,
definitely
dude.
takes some skill.
It's not bad. I've done it, so I had to start learning it when I renovated my room the last time. I started seeing some imperfections, so I started trying to mud it and stuff. So I got good at the mud. The texture is what messes me up. The
Yeah,
knockdown texture. You
Yeah,
have to have a professional for that.
yeah,
Like I could not make it match to save my life.
yeah. I got
Oh
someone
yeah,
to
if you're
texture
trying to
mine.
match. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
if you're trying to match, that's hard because you have to get the compound to the right consistency that you don't know unless you did it originally. Then you
yeah. I
get it.
paid someone to do my texture, and because
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, all the
yes,
finishing work I did in my room. I think I spent about $3,000 on the finishing work in my room, but then I did something like crazy stupid. So I had .4 overheads. Decided I was going to go .6. So when I had .4, I got a bigger screen. I moved my chairs back, had them fill in the what was the rear speakers to be my new rear speakers. They filled in that section, which once I moved back and decided I wanted to go .6, it was in the exact same place, and I didn't tell them, hey, that was filled in before, by the way. And they
oh,
put the wire mesh in there, and so then they started trying to cut it back out to put the .4 in the middle. Anyways, yeah, it was a mess,
That's funny.
but
yeah,
I had to learn a little bit, then I had to touch it back up. It was fun.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
good. What's
what?
everyone in the chat? I was trying to find out what the rest of the guys were up to
So
in the chat.
Fred 215 was the first one in the chat today. Thank you, Fred, for joining.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. He was in earlier than us because obviously we didn't come in on a time. So
Fred was on time.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got Mark Fox in the chat. We have Bennett, Benny. How you doing, brother? And we got Alanis in the chat.
It actually worked out though, because this is the first time in weeks and weeks that the stream popped up for me. Like it's not popped up until you guys were late, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's jump on. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
oh,
I
really?
guess we did start showing up late now, so Eric
Yeah,
can get.
gotta make sure we personalize our invitations.
Yeah, I don't know. I think.
Yeah, I thought you had a filter.
Yeah,
You get that white-haired spiky guy. I'm not jumping on. That's just not.
Yeah, you know.
okay.
No,
So
it was amazing seeing you guys all at Mwave. Honestly, like Don, I think all of you guys were there last year, but I didn't know you as well, right?
Right,
But
right.
seeing you guys this year, just over and over as we're walking around, seeing everybody, man, the camaraderie there is just, it's an amazing event. It really is an amazing event.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely
I
is.
enjoyed it.
Yep. Yeah, it
Did you
was
get
fun.
to? Did you, Eric? Did you get to partake in any of the VIP tours?
Well, in a roundabout kind of way, I didn't actually pay the whatever they were asking for it, but I did abuse the fact that I'm an admin for Build Montage's Discord server, and I did get to go to Ryan. Was it Carpentier? I think is his last name.
Yep.
He that works with Youthman. Uh, I got to go check out his room, which is absurd. I thought based off of what I had looked at, what was in that room, I thought it was $1 million room, which is crazy enough. And it turns out it's actually $1.5 million room. And I got to hang out in there for a good hour and a half with some build montage buddies of mine and Ryan and oh my gosh, just by far, and it should be the best sounding room I've ever been in my life. Like I've been in multi-million dollar rooms. That Ascendo room, like, so coming from somebody like with Ike in the Dallas Theater Room group, I've been to lots of very nice rooms. I'll shout out John that's in our group. He's got a room that's probably a couple $100,000, just like $20,000 focal front soundstage, NZ9, just an amazing room. But I've got so desensitized by nice rooms that when I go into them and I hear the same reproductions or the same demo material, it's the same demo material, right? To the point where I'm like, I've got, I don't know, 10 grand in Deftex in my, that's the flagship Deftex, but I'm like, I don't need to replace that. I'm not hearing
Right.
anything that sways me, right?
Yep.
But that was the first room I've ever been in, and given I'll never have it, $1.5 million. But the Ascendo speakers, like, oh my gosh, like I was sucked into every single, including Player Ready One that we've all endured, right, dozens of
Hmm.
times, just listening to it in that room, and I can't even explain it. It was just, it was amazing, man. It's just that next level that we all think we're going to get by spending a few more $1,000. I've legit learned, like, with focals and I love JTR. I love JTR, and I think if I ever do upgrade, I'll go to JTR. But like every single demo I heard in that room just drew me in, even though I've heard it so many times, because it's not the same. Fury, the tank movie with Brad Pitt, just blew me away. Because and drawing into that a little bit, the fact that we've heard them all so many times, we know what to expect,
Yep.
and we listen for it, and we want to hear how the sound contrasts in that room compared to what we hear in our room. And there was just so much that didn't compare. So I'm sorry to draw this out from
No,
your
you're
easy
No, no,
question,
no,
but
no, no.
man, that the Ascendo room in Ryan's house, just end game, just
Yeah,
blew me away.
it was amazing. Don and I got to spend some time in there also, and the interesting part is it's still under construction.
Which is
right.
wild. It's
Which is the
wild.
wildest part of it, right? It's like it's not even where he wants it to be. I don't even think it's 80% of what he wants, but yes, it
Yeah,
is.
And that's
yeah.
what's
When
been said in the build montage. Real quick, I'm sorry, Don, but that's what's been said in the build montage Discord with the folks that were there that actually experienced this room, was like, it's wild to think that it's not dialed in.
Yeah.
Like, infinitely better than anything I'll ever hear in my life again, I'm sure. And it's not even dialed in. Just
Yeah.
wild. Go ahead, Don. Sorry, man.
Yeah, like I said, we both got to partake. Thank you again, Ryan, for extending the invite to us. I think Ike and I went out Friday night. We took an Uber out there, and he was still tweaking and dialing in and everything else like that. And you go in there and you forget that you shouldn't be looking into this projector, right? Because it's, first of all, it's a laser projector, right? So I'm kind of like looking back and I'm like, oh no, I don't need to be looking at this projector. I need to look, just sit down and look at the screen, right? So, because that thing's, I think it's what, 240 volts or something like that for that laser. You know, it can definitely do some damage. And actually heard someone tell a story about, you know, someone actually getting some retina damage. I mean, fortunately for that person, after you know, doing like an eye patch for a week or so, their eye was actually healed. But yeah, I mean, that thing can definitely do some damage. So if you do get around any of those high end, high output projectors, make sure that, you know, you're not really looking into the lens or anything like that. So
Yeah, if it's
yeah,
laser, don't look at it. Bulb is fine. Laser,
yeah,
don't
yeah.
don't look
It's
at it.
and this is I believe it's a Christie Griffin that's in that room. I think it's about 10,000 lumens. So I don't have a slouch that you can see the little light back there. I don't have a slouch of a projector. It's an NZ8. But and so I'm like, whatever. I got up and I was actually talking to the crowd and they're like, don't look at the laser. I'm like, I've got a laser projector, whatever. That thing is crazy bright. It is crazy bright.
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't. Actually, he's got that thing throttled way back because he's using a special lens that actually, I think it reduces one third of the light right away. And then when you
Yes.
calibrate it again, it loses, you know. So he's definitely got it throttled way back. But just to give you a picture, when you walk into the theater, you know, it's basically he's just got one couch, and your eye is just automatically drawn to the only exposed speaker in the room, and that is a 50-inch subwoofer, right? So that's directly behind a couch, like a it's like a it's wide enough to fit four people, but it's really a three-person couch, right? With like a
It's
chase.
so clean of and it's not even finished that people on Facebook were questioning whether or not there was a render or not.
Right.
And
Yeah.
whether it
Oh
was
yeah,
the
the picture
actual
he
room. But
posted,
it's
right?
like, nope, that is the
It's
actual
what it
room.
looks
That's what
like,
it
man.
looks like
Do I
in
have a
real
way of
life.
sharing? Do I have a way of sharing a picture by
Yeah.
chance?
Yeah, you can just
Should be share down the bottom, share
yeah.
screen, and then share your picture.
Okay, I want to keep talking. I'll figure out how to do it. Sorry, guys.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we were going through some demos. I know that he played Fury for us. Do you remember what other I think he played The Greatest Showman?
Yep. Was that
God,
Is
his
I
that
can't
showing
camera?
up?
remember this again.
No, I'm about to pull it up. We lost Don's camera, so that kind
Oh,
of threw
okay.
me off a little bit. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, the funny thing is you walk in this room and because it's a work in progress, I walked in there like with and by the way, Ike is going to come out in several weeks now with my actual room tour. But I walked into this room and I'm like, compared to this room, like, look at this. You've got insulation hanging out, you've got duct work, but mixed into that, you have a six-figure Christie Griffin projector. What I'm hugging there is a six-figure. I think it's about $120,000 Ascendo 50-inch subwoofer. That's Ryan in the orange shirt on the couch. It's wild. Like it just looks like you're about to experience somebody's hobo put together home theater, right? And it's just about the most amazing thing I've ever experienced personally.
yeah. If I own that theater, there's no way I'm sitting in that same spot Ryan is sitting because I wouldn't trust my cranium to just get constantly exposed to that subwoofer because I'm pretty damn sure he's dialing that thing really low.
He is, and
You
they're
know,
and he did
so
they all did say they're all coasting. So here's the crazy thing to me. So I have two PSA Power Sound Audio subs in my room, 18-inch. Each one is 2,000 watts, and that's RMS. They're not slouches, right? And I get lots and lots of compliments from everybody who's ever been in my room about because one of them is near field. So I've got lots of tactile base in my room. And so I go into a lot of the rooms and I'm like, to be honest, like if the tactile response isn't there, I'm like, this is just, I don't enjoy it. And I'll say I did the same thing in Ryan's room. And I'm like, there's just the tactile response isn't there until I got home and I watched the same demos that were in his room because of how drawn into those demos that I was, and realize I am missing so much. Like he's got not just the 50-inch Ascendo, he's got, what is it, like 6 24 inches and eight
32s.
18 inches or so, or that's right, 6 32s that are behind the screen, and another like 24 or 18 inches. He's got ridiculous amounts of subs in that room. And what I realized when I got home, I don't even think it's a matter of how many subs he has. It's a matter of the specialization that those different sizes have and the frequencies that they can adequately service, I guess is
Yep.
probably the better way to say that. And so when I got home with my 18s, the PSA subs, amazing subs. They're amazing subs. But they go down linear to maybe 10 hertz, which is, again, that's pretty damn amazing for 3 feet long, 2 feet tall, 2 feet wide. But I realized immediately how much I was missing, just how much I was missing, which was just crazy to me. And it was
Yeah.
apparent, like, immediately. So I've gone to these high dollar theater rooms,
Yeah.
didn't immediately realize anything I was missing, and immediately came home from Ryan's room and realized, oh man, I'm missing so much. I'm missing so much.
Yep. We just lost Don and Paul.
I
Okay.
was like, damn, are they
Yeah.
done hearing me? I mean,
No,
talking too much.
I think Paul got pulled into something real quick, but Don is
Okay.
coming back.
I'm having issues with my camera. I loaned Michael my camera when we did for Mwave because they needed to shoot something, and I haven't figured out the settings that they've set it up on. I got like the standby mode. I think it's shutting off. I don't know
Is it
I don't know
open?
what's
Did
going
you
on.
open the flap? Is the
Yeah,
screen open?
it's open and it's pulled away because it was
How
doing
about
this the other
how
day.
about your battery?
Yeah, I got the dummy battery in, so the dummy
And it's
battery.
reading well.
Yeah.
It's,
So.
but I know Elgato had an update because I had to update my Comlink right before the show, before we started, which was kind of what created the delay we ended up having. But
Yeah.
you might want to try that out later on. But I know, Don, I know you want to talk about more M-Wave stuff, but there's just been a couple of news right in the home theater space. So let's talk about that, and then we can go into the home theater tours and talk about all the experiences that you had there. So I think the very first one is Zidu is finally coming out with a bunch of new players.
Yes.
They're coming out with 8K players, which is now the trend, right? Everybody's pulling up 8K player, all over the freaking place. Let's see. And it's not just the Z9X Pro that is getting an 8K version. It looks like a couple of the
Revolution is
other
too.
a couple of the other players are coming out. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I can pull up.
Our Evolution was at Mwave, and they're coming out with an 8K player. A lot of them
Yeah.
seem to have a lot of the same specs. I'm wondering if they're using a common vendor for the motherboards, but a lot of them have like almost identical specs. So I'm curious about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fred, you mentioned the without 8K movies. I can understand that. However, these players are doing an upscaling for you. So if you have the capability to, straight feed, do a separate HDMI or whatever straight to the projector or display that can support 8K, That way you can actually use that feature. I think 2.1 that only does 4K 120, right?
No, the 2.1 will do. I believe that does 8K. That's what they're doing for upscaling, at least for JVC.
I see.
Yeah, let me see if I can zoom this in. But yes, it is HDMI. Let's see, 2.1, 8K 60.
Oh yeah, 2.1, 8. Okay, 8K60, not 120.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Yep.
also, the whole 8K thing is just going to be, it's part of the marketing, right? Because the new generation of chipsets that are coming out with 8K as part of the chipsets, right? So if it's there, they're going to put it on the label. The content isn't necessarily out there yet, but the upscaling is good. But like the chipset is the most important thing, right? That's it. The new chipsets. I don't see why any company would put out any product of this nature and then go for some older chipset that doesn't have HDMI 2.1. I don't think it would be a smart decision. Like, I think a lot of people will say, oh, there's no 8K, but you will probably not want to buy any new, type of home theater device if it doesn't have HDMI 2.1, even if you're not going to use it,
Yeah.
because it just feels like it's being future proof.
I mean, Paul's brought this up before on here. If you're looking at 8K on a 8K versus 4K on a 55-inch screen, you're not going to see a major difference,
Yeah,
right?
it's on the larger screen.
Yeah, it's on the larger screens that you're gonna be able to take advantage of this. To where it'll actually, if you're looking at a 150-inch screen or even more, it also depends on your seating distance too, right? So
Yep.
there's a lot of factors in it, but yeah. So Paul, what do you think about this new Zadoo? I know you have a Zadoo player. Is this something that piques your interest?
If I get another one, I'll probably do something even more than the mini, like just just for the aesthetic to fit like across like in a rack better, and I like even though the 8K they have to sell with numbers. That's just human nature, and
Yeah.
it is cool that they keep improving it because everybody, all they do is compare stupid stuff like, oh, look at how fast the poster art rolls and stuff like that, which, admittedly, it is annoying whenever you're, scrolling through and you're like, oh man, I got to wait a little bit. But I mean, if you're just perusing your library, you're kind of pausing anyways. But yeah, if you want to scroll through all 3,000 of your movies you have and you want the posters to fly across the screen that you're not actually looking at, ooh, okay, that's impressive. But, it's just, like you said, it adds a little bit to it. And if it upscales, that's great. From what I've heard, it can upscale even some of your. One of the big advantages along with what you said is, sure, I have a 150-inch screen. I had a 125-inch, and honestly, even 1080p to 4K at 14 feet wasn't even really that much noticeable. Once I went to the 150, yeah, you can notice it. Like you could even, I would say come in the room, go out the room, and you would notice, okay, 1080p versus 4K. You'd still have to kind of look at it. It wouldn't ruin your experience, but the 480p and some of the older DVD movies and anime stuff that I have, yeah, that would be nice to, have an 8K engine in there that would upscale it just maybe a little better by default and make that 150-inch not so, blurry, if you would. Not that it's unwatchable, just like anything, you start it and you're like, oh God, but, 10 minutes into it, you don't even notice,
I think it's 100% unwatchable.
Yeah, the price point is also not bad. Like the Z9X 8K is going to be 300. And by the way, it's also already available for pre-order. and a
Oh,
couple
that's
of people are
nice.
already pre-ordering it. But I'm on the fence about it. If they send me one for review, great. But I already have the 8K Revolution, the 4K. I already have the Z9X Pro, so I'm like, But so there is the Z30 Pro, which is $400, and it looks like it does have one hard drive bay. And then there's the 3000 and then the 8000, which is the big boy here with two 3.5 bays, and it's $1,200.
And what does it
So
add
That's about
besides?
right, though. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what.
no, that's
yeah,
your normal shoot. Some of the other competitors are 1,500 for the same
yep.
thing.
Right.
I'm
Mhm.
assuming that has RCA outputs
So here's my
and
question.
Click on the
So
back. Click on the back
or
picture. Can you?
so I have a Z1000 Pro that does 4K, but then I have an NZ8 that has the 8K upscaling. Are we then going to get into a conversation around if you have one device that does 8K upscaling, is it worth having another device that does 8K upscaling, and is it worth that upgrade?
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to choose one or the other. I guess it's same thing for when you get a video processor, right? You spend 25 grand on a JVC N900, and then you go and spend another 15 grand on a Mad VR, and you shut everything off in the NZ9 or N900, excuse me. So it's kind of the same thing, and then obviously on your players and everything else, you shut everything off on them too when you have that video processor in the chain, because it does a better job. So I guess it would be interesting to see which side by side. It'd be very difficult unless you had two projectors calibrated exactly the same, and calibrated exactly the same, and same screen, same light, and everything else, to see which one actually does a better job, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
well,
And I tend to agree with what
yeah.
Rob Johnson's saying in the chat is it's not worth the upgrade, right? If you've got something that's upscaling to 8K, you're probably good.
Yeah.
And I
mhm.
would have a feeling that a $16,000 NZ8 projector is probably going to be doing a better job of it than a Zedu. With that said, though, I'm not a Zedu hater. I have a
Yeah.
what is it,
Yeah. No, I know.
Z1000 Pro Zedu.
Yeah. And I think also it's really about the chipset. Like I said, it's the new generation of chipsets that are coming out for devices like this are primarily just future proof, right? Because chipsets don't come out every year, like other devices. So when you release like the Logic, the S9 2X, 28X, I'm sure it's what I don't think I'd seen this name before. It's probably a new chipset. They already come with 8K built in, and it's a buzzword now. So obviously they're gonna put it front and center of.
No, that one has
And
two HDMI. No.
did they? Yeah, it looks like they brought back the two HDMI. Oh well,
What about
Zillow
on
already
the?
had it, always had it. I think it was our Revolution that took out the second, but it does have two HDMIs. Yeah, let's see, it's HDMI. It has two HDMI out.
Or is it two HDMI outs, one audio, one
Oh yeah,
video?
one audio only. It's audio only. I just looked. One is
Ah,
audio only, and the other, yeah. So,
that's pretty cool. I mean,
but it does have XLR collection. That's interesting. It's
Oh,
two
yeah,
XLR.
that's for the two-channel DAC. I'm sure
Yeah.
for high-end audio. That's the
so is that what you're really? Are you paying extra for a higher end DAC if you're not taking advantage of it?
Probably, and the PSU, I guess.
yeah, yeah. There is in these $1,500 range. Yeah, you are paying for
Yeah. So,
XLR.
so let's check. So this is the S9 2X. But if you go back, they probably are all using the same chipset. Let's see what the yeah, it's still the same chipset. But the PSU is probably going to be the difference, and the DAC, obviously, and yeah, the drive bay, two drive bays, and But yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind getting this one just to review it. But
This one has Dolby Vision and HDR 10 plus.
don't
So
they all
that's-
have that?
I think they did.
Yeah, but in the Zidu forum, right? It was the typical spiel. They're talking about how this is better and blah blah blah. And
Yeah.
the guy went short of just saying, "Oh, it's better than our Revolution," right? So, which, yeah, he didn't say the name, but he was talking about another 8K player that just came out, and, But yeah,
You'd
what
have
else?
to get into so many more in-depth details than what has been released on these players to
Yeah,
be able to understand how they're upscaling upscaling technology and what they're actually doing. And then it really would have to be like a projector shootout Mwave style side by side to really be able to compare the differences, because I think at that point we're dealing with diminishing returns to the point where
yeah,
I don't know if it really makes a difference. I mean, even talking about NZ8 compared to a Z2 that's doing the upscaling, I can tell a difference between 1080p to 4K, and I'm about 10 feet from a 133-inch screen. I can tell a difference between 10K or 1080p to 4K, and I can tell once I turn the enhancement on from 4K to 8K, I can actually tell a difference, but only if it's a very high quality rip or disc that I'm looking at. If it's 480p or 1080p that's upscaled to 8K, I can't tell a difference between that and upscaling to 4K in my
So,
testing.
so Rob was just asking about 3D. Let's see. I don't know if he does 3D. I was trying to search, but supports. I don't know. That's Blu-ray. That doesn't look like. Let's see. I tried to do. Oh, well, it does support 3D. So, Rob, it does support 3D, but I know there are different versions of 3D, right? And not every chipset. But this one supports the top and bottom. I think, which I think is the one everybody likes to talk about, right? So, yep, there is support for 3D for folks like Don that likes 3D
For the
movies.
one,
I love my
person.
3D movies, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. It's
Yeah. All inclusive, right?
I will say, I mean, I'm usually a hater for 3D, but like Avatar 3D, like I think CGI does really well for 3D. That's kind of where I think that format lives or excels for me at least.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'll put a link in the chat if anyone wants to pre-order. I think they're available for shipping July 30th. And this is the website I ordered the Z9X Pro when it came out. I think I was like probably the first person that got it when it came out, and I did the video. So hopefully I'll be able to get one of this. I probably won't do the Z9X 8K. This one looks tempting. I know my wife is watching, so Zidu, if you're watching, please send me this for review. Because I'm not.
What about
I'm not
model
buying
just? What about the model just below this one? Does it
Yes,
have the ESS?
yeah, that one also looks
616.
Yeah, 616.
Okay, this one
so
doesn't
it's
have
twice the
ESS.
price, which is interesting, but it
So
has just one
this one
drive
doesn't
bay.
have the ESS Saber DAC for your 2-channel audio.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, that's,
No, it
that's
doesn't.
And this is the
Yeah.
upgraded version. This is the upgraded version for the one that I have. I have the Z1000 Pro.
Yeah, it doesn't have the DAC on there, so.
So if I got one, it would be this, because I wouldn't. I'm all.
And I will say, sorry, Paul. I will say, so I have it in Nvidia Shield Pro, the 2019, and I questioned having a Z1000 or a Z2 product, period, versus having an Nvidia Shield Pro for quite a long time. But Z2 blew up in the build montage channel for months and months, and finally I said I'd go ahead and give it a shot. I will say, going back and forth, I can tell a difference in the quality, and I don't even think Z2 100% is a better quality picture. A few of my friends said they even thought the audio is better, but there is some challenges there. Like it doesn't update the media in the background. Even if you leave it on, it turns itself off. So there's a few challenges there where the minor upgrade in the video.
Yeah.
I honestly don't use it that much. I just don't because of that. The convenience factor.
I'm also
right?
interested in the Google Store, man. I hope it has a Google Store that allows you to be able to download. Basically, obviously, it's not a streaming box, right? But
They won't.
if you are able to,
Yeah, I mean,
They won't.
even
They
the
won't do that.
Panasonic, yeah.
But if you're in the groups, you can do that.
Our Evolution has it, right? You can download. So now I just use my Our Evolution as a one-stop.
Yep.
You know, so
Oh,
it's
Our Evolution has the regular Play Store. Sorry.
Yeah,
Mike.
it has the Google Play Store, and I went there and I downloaded my Disney and all that and logged it. So that way, it's like, you know, if I want to watch any of those streaming, I'm not taking my remote and switching device. It only takes a second to do with a remote.
You can
but
do the same with a Zedo, but it's not.
Yeah, I know. There's
Off
a
the shelf.
there's a yeah
Workarounds, yeah.
Yeah, they need to just
Same thing
do
with the
that.
Fire
the
Stick and all that
difference.
stuff that didn't get
That
Netflix
is
before
going
and
to
all
be
that.
the
Yeah.
difference between stuff like the Zedo and the Arvolution. The Arvolution has a different interface, and like you said, you can do the Google Store, more automagically, if you would.
And
But-
speaking of Arvolution, we plan on having Raphael on very soon. We actually were going to have him on tonight, but something came up to where he couldn't make it. But
Yeah,
we're going to try to do it in a more friendly time for him also, because he's across the pond. But I know that he is coming to the States very soon.
Yeah.
So we may be able to grab him while he's in the States and get
yeah,
it done.
because they also have the mini player coming out, right? Which is
Right.
basically a competitor with the C9X Pro.
Yep.
8K.
It looked amazing. It looked cool. It was definitely super high build quality.
Dude, that thing is so tiny, you're gonna forget it's in your rack, man.
Yeah.
You don't put it in your rack. That thing goes in. That thing goes in your bedroom. It doesn't go in your
I guess,
rack.
yeah, it's a bedroom, well, somewhere, but that's how small. But
The
I
other
guess
thing that Arvolution came out with, which is not mentioned a whole lot, is their cable line, and it's really
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
really cool.
we're gonna go over. I got some
Bigger.
pictures for that,
Bigger.
so we're gonna go over all that today too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have any
So
of
I
us
think-
done any? Sorry, has any of us done any comparisons of Arvolution versus Zedo from a picture quality perspective, like in person?
Well, see, that's the thing. Unless you're analyzing the bits and the data, it's a subjective thing, because everything has its own tone mapping. So that's not even a fair comparison. It also depends on the projector, the TV.
Yeah, and I compared the
own-
Z9X Pro with the 4K Revolution, but I feel like it's not a fair comparison. I don't feel like they're in the same price point, right? The 4K Revolution feels like a more mature device, different price point and all that, right? So I think the Mini, and now that we're gonna have the Z9X 8K, I think that will be a fair comparison to be able to have both of them, because they're going to be about the same price point and possibly maybe the same chipset. So yeah, the comparison I did, the Revolution was obviously better, but I looked at it like, okay.
Yeah, but even something
it's
like
a-
you're gonna. They have their own tone mapping. Every
Yeah.
device tone maps different, so it's going to be different. And some
Well,
people,
the Arvolution uses a form of the Dolby Vision tone mapping.
Yeah.
So it uses that engine is what it uses.
Yeah,
So,
so
yeah,
I
it's definitely
suspect
gonna be
Zedo would
different.
also try to probably adopt that particular one. And when I did my comparison, the Revolution shined when it came to upscaling like 1080p, right? So when you're upscaling
Was that with
less,
the
a much
8K or
compressed.
the
No, the
4K?
4K, the 4K, just handled the 1080p data much
Gotcha.
better than the C9X Pro. But like I said, it's different price points, but
Yeah.
we should be getting our hands on the Revolution Mini in a couple of weeks. And then, hopefully we can get our hands also on the C9X Pro 8K. And yeah, I think that will be a much better comparison. But
Yeah.
let's go
And
to the
even
next.
then,
Yeah,
the software can be, different, and if it
yeah,
handles
but
it
but
better,
yeah,
it
but
could.
that's what it is, right? It's gonna be trying to see who has the software that I like better, and not necessarily is the best, but which one do I think is going to be very subjective. It's not going to be
Yeah.
an objective measurement.
I will say, I mean, the reason I was asking that question is because, like I said, I can definitely tell a difference between the Shield Pro on the exact same rib between the Z1000 Pro and Shield Pro. So I'd love to get my hands on a Revolution, but I appreciate that commentary.
Yeah. So I think the next big one is, Kaleidoscape has something coming next week.
It's still speculation.
It's all speculation, right? When Don says that, that just took it out of the speculation realm already, right? It's all speculation.
Look, I'm a dealer for them, and I still don't have any emails, so it's still speculation.
Yeah, but I think about a month ago we had Adam Gold from Kaleidoscape on the podcast, and he did let us know. If you haven't seen that, I probably should make a clip out of that now, put it on YouTube. But yeah, he did allude to the fact
you're trying to get that man fired, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Something is coming. No, he didn't say what, so we don't know.
Yeah,
he said something was coming, so it was interesting to wake up and see that post. Now, there's a lot of obviously speculations that it could be an all-in-one device, or it could be a cheaper all-in-one, right? Meaning you don't need the drive and the server. Or
as
whatever.
a dealer, I think it was a mistake for them to get rid of the Strato S. It was a cheaper option. I understand why they did it. Because the technology in it, they wanted to get the faster networking card and everything else in there. I understand why they did it. But hey, if I were to guess, and I'm telling you, I have zero input on this, and I'm just guessing.
But you don't read your emails, though. You usually don't check your emails, so there's a chance you have.
I've been checking actually. Speaking of emails, I actually just received something for. I actually just received something. Well, okay, first of all, I get about maybe 400 emails a day from my work. So I try not to.
I just admittedly don't check my email. I'm not even.
Yeah,
I check all those, but
just message me.
If I were to speculate, and like I said, I have zero input on this. I have nothing. I would say, we might be looking at something like a 4 terabyte all in one player. You know what I mean? Something smaller and more affordable to get into, because that has been the biggest response from the public, right? It's too expensive. It's too let's face it. If everybody had $1,000 player, or if Kaleidoscape had $1,000 player, everybody will buy it. I'll pre-order as much hype and as much gripe as people talk about Kaleidoscape, everybody would own one if they had $1,000 player.
Yep.
That's in the home theater hop.
It's too easy. It's too convenient. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I know that it's something that everybody is wanting and trying to push for as a more viable, more attainable option for them. And I've always been a supporter of them, and even long before I've actually became a dealer for them. But the thing just works, man. I'm just telling you. Yes, I don't have my theater hooked up, but I can tell you what, that thing's plugged into my TV, and it works every time I turn it on. So,
Yeah, I tried to find a picture, so I just went on Facebook and grabbed one. But that image, I
I'm
wonder
still with
if that's
Eric
the
though on the whole K-scape thing, regardless
that's
of
that's
the
I
price.
think that's the server there.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that was the image they used. So I didn't know if there was any clue from that. But
Yeah.
we don't know what they got
yeah.
going on.
I just like the ability to have my media backed up in my form to where I can take it anywhere at any time and not pay a premium to store it.
Yeah, no,
Like
I
in
mean, look,
10 years.
the storage is
But that's, but I'm also not the person for ease of use, right? It's like the complex part isn't that complicated for me. It is complicated. I'm not saying it's
yeah,
not. Like
and speaking of ease
I
of
have
use,
told
can you share
people
my screen?
the K-scape is for you, you know. So
Kevin says if it's $1,000, he's gonna buy one for me.
yeah.
So,
Hey, one for you,
speaking
one for
speaking of
you.
that, someone asked about the NOS, right?
Oh
The
yes,
Arvolution
the
NOS. Go ahead
evolution
and pop
has.
that up.
Yes, I
I got a
started.
picture of that.
Okay. Oh, you shared. Okay, let me
Yeah,
get
yeah.
that on the
So
screen share.
we're talking about ease of use, right? So this was at Mwave. The NOS is coming back to the U.S. So we're there. It does not have the drive anymore. So you have to do your own form of ripping. It's not an auto type of thing. So now you add your complications back into the whole mix, right? Compared to the Kaleidoscape, I go onto my app and I press the button and it downloads. Right, I literally click and put my fingerprint, and it pays for everything and it goes. Now this, you got to order the disc, pick up the disc, whatever. You got to bring it home. You got to hope that it works with MKV, make MKV. If you buy a brand new disc that comes out that same day, chances are that it might not work right away.
Yep.
You may have to wait for the encoding and all that stuff, or decoding, I should say. And the only other option at that point in time is a DVD fab that takes takes an ISO of the whole disc, right? So I I'm a constituent for both, because the way that I use my Kaleidoscape, I do not use it in the way that for storage. So just like Paul said, I want to be able to store all my discs, and I want to be able to I think I'm up to 1,900 movies right now, right? So I want to be able to store them, in a one-stop solution, something like this NOS. Eventually, right now I have all mine just backed up on external hard drives. It's hard for me to pull that trigger to dump 8 bays at $400 a piece for 18 terabyte drives, and then buy the NOS too, because it's not enhancing my experience, right?
Yep.
So it's not changing my experience. I can still watch the movies either way, right? So it's just been a hard thing for me to do. However, for people that are just starting off, it's you can put as minimal as three drives in to get this NOS to work. It's a good solution. I I'm hoping to get one eventually, and
Yep.
and add it, because the system knows exactly where to go when working with the Arvolution NOS. It's familiar with the programming and everything else. Not that you can't direct your Arvolution or your Zadoo or wherever else to your network, to your NOS. But I found that when I had the Zapedi, which is basically the same exact thing, I had a Zapedi NOS in here, and I played around with it for quite some time for a customer, and it just seemed to work better than using like cloud storage and stuff like that it used to have. Now, the Arvolution stores all of the art and everything else in-house now rather than on a cloud. So this may, until I get this in, I can't speak for it yet, but I'm
Yeah.
excited about it. I can't wait for it to come out, for me to get my hands on one of these.
Yep. I hope I'm able to get one to just, I guess just to review it and see. But yeah, did we get a prize for it? Because I think Rob is asking. No, I don't think there was a prize.
Yeah,
No, I
that's what
don't
I
think
was.
there was
No,
a
we
price
didn't.
yet.
I
Yeah,
would
we didn't.
imagine it's probably maybe 10% more than what the Zapiti one is, just on the
Just
just 'cause
market value, right?
Yeah,
In
yeah,
terms of
yeah.
market value change.
Because this
But
one you still have to buy your drives, right?
yeah, it's definitely not coming, and it's not gonna come with that. So yeah. Well, it's good to have, but it's no longer the Reaper, so it's
I would
lost its
I would
appeal.
I would love to know, and I listened to you to Dawn, and I'm torn at this point. Kscape is very convenient, and I would love to see Kscape come out with a lower cost solution. But at 4 terabytes, coming from somebody who has, I think it's 33 terabytes of movies that aren't even the quality of Kscape, then looking at a solution for our Evolution that provides a NAS compared to a solution that you could build yourself. I guess the value is not everybody's going to build their own. Like I have a 20 bay, I have a 20 bay server that I've created. Not everybody's doing that,
Right.
um, but more people could do an Arvolution NAS. But then you're talking about ripping disks again at that point, right? Because it doesn't have any built-in solution to rip a disk like Zapiti did. So you're back to ripping
Oh, I'm
disks.
sure once it hits the states, I'm
And
sure us us
Eric.
engineers will figure because we already have a way with your standard, Synology and QNAP to one button.
Yeah, we'll find a way, but it's not an all-in-one like
Yeah,
Zapiti was.
correct. Yep.
Zapiti
Right.
was
Well, I
all-in-one.
mean that was the whole issue with it, though. It can't be an all-in-one.
Yeah,
The only
it
reason
cannot
that's
legally
yeah,
it cannot come with that. That is why
But
it got
and you're all right. You're all right. So what I'm getting at is the convenience of Kscape, and I'm wondering if they are coming out with a solution for a lower cost entry level unit. Does that then change the game for people like me that are adamant about I have my own discs, I have them ripped, I have my own storage. If the zombie apocalypse comes, I could start up a generator and I could play my own movies. Um, what does that mean for the game? Like,
well,
I
well.
for you. So, like I was saying, I have a different use case than somebody that's just living on their yacht and storing a bunch of movies, right? My use case is more or less for the demos or for the most recent movie that comes out.
Yeah.
I can store about 100 movies on my Strato S that I have. It's a 6 terabyte, and I have the cloud, right? So if the only downfall to the Strato S at 6 terabytes that I see is that it doesn't have that faster networking card like I was speaking of. So if they take the new networking card and put it that they have in their servers now that can literally download a 4K movie in about 5 to 10 minutes, as long as you have the internet connection, then it makes it more viable because now you have the cloud. So you can purchase whatever you want. All your movies are stored in the cloud. You can purchase the 14,000 movies that they have in their movie store. And by the time that you hit download, go get your popcorn and sit down on the theater chair, it's ready to go because you're downloading that thing and with the SSD, I think it's in under 5 or 10 minutes SSD. So I mean, that thing is screaming as long as you have the internet connection to be able to do
It
it.
is, yeah, that's the thing. It is a great selling point and a selling number, et cetera, et cetera. But again, that's just big numbers for big wallets, which there's nothing against that. That's what you have to do. But as far, in my opinion, Eric, the Arvolution doesn't change anything for you because you already do your own NAS and like you might use TrueNAS, right? The Arvolution is software that you throw the discs in and it auto does everything for you to where you just log in and you're ready. It's you don't have to decide, oh, do I want thin volume, thick volume, RAID 5, RAID 6, RAID 0. That's the advantage. That's the software that you're paying for, is all that automation. And your use case doesn't change. You know how to do all that, so it doesn't mean anything to you. You're like, oh, what? Why would I do that?
But the ease of use does change, though. I mean, look, you went from doing your own NAS and messing with all the cover art and everything else that you did through NVIDIA Shield, or right, and now you're using a Zadoo, right? So it's just the ease of use and being able to do all that.
No, it's the same.
Am I correct in that?
Wait, does it collect metadata? Wait, Arvolution has a is it?
Yeah, it does the same thing as the Zadoo built in.
Oh, it does. I didn't grasp that.
It's the same exact thing. Yeah,
it's the same. It's the same exact thing. You know, but I think just, you know, it will be great if Kaleidoscape can come out with a cheap entry level device, because I think, and it will, if you already have a large collection, you know, that you ripped yourself, right?
I guess I understand your point. What you were saying, Don, is you went from manually doing a file and then manually doing thing from like a DLNA to, oh, now I'm going to buy a Zadoo that has software where it auto collects the metadata for me.
Right.
And that's, okay. So, and that's why you paid for the Zadoo, right? You don't even need the Zadoo. Technically, you just connect that to your TV and use a computer and it'll play, but you're not going to have all that poster art, you know, the actors and all that. So you're paying for that $300 Zadoo just to have that back in Cody or Jellyfin.
But it looks good if you have guests, and for me, my guest most of the time is going to be my wife. I'm pulling it off, and I will say, experiencing all of the mainstream products, right? In my opinion, Zadoo is the second best outside of Kscape as far as how they present the media. But you do have to.
Arvolution is a step between the Zadoo
and the Kscape.
That's
so are you saying that the display is better than the Zadoo?
It's even faster.
Really? It's faster, it's better. Yeah.
The software is
more
refined.
Well, here's my money.
Yeah. It is literally Zadoo on steroids. That's what it
is. You know, and that's probably why they're coming out with the new 8K version.
The new chipset.
Because the previous Zadoos are not going to catch up with what Arvolution is already doing on the market.
Well, if they 100% come out with just a standalone player, because what I realized after the fact when I bought the Z1000 Pro Zadoo is it has a bay. I don't need a bay. I've got 20 other bays for everything that's contained. So if they come out with just strictly a player, and you're saying that, I'll 100% buy that. I'll give it a shot. I don't think we're I don't think we're sponsored, but I'll give it a shot.
They're really nice. Yeah,
it's nice. You know, it's. I think
I will
good.
probably end up just getting the $600 Zadoo, just, you know, to have the rack and the display.
I wish you were local. I'd give you my Z1000.
You got all that stuff hidden, right? Paul, you got all that stuff hidden, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, with your new box that are you going to try to get a rack and all that stuff?
No, it's just a matter of like laying stuff out underneath that, even like maybe using like an AC and affinity, you know.
Okay.
Do that, you know, like it fits, right? It's the same width as everything, you know what I mean? And it's just kind of a shoot. If Apple TV made the 18-inch or whatever the standard width of a AVR is, I'd buy that just to have it the same width, so everything would stack all nice and neat underneath there.
Yeah. So Ike, I noticed that you're commenting to some people here about the no ripping function. You know, it's no different than what you're doing now. What most people are doing now. They have their drive, they rip it to their computer, and then you just move it over to the NAS, right?
Yep.
So it's not. Yeah, it's one extra step. You know what I mean?
Well, a NAS. Once you have a NAS, you're ripping. If you're doing rips, you're
right.
ripping them directly. So you're not moving them once you're not
Correct.
using
So
them.
you just got to buy that. You got to buy you have to purchase the optical drive outside of the NAS.
Yes.
It cannot
Well,
be
then-
sold.
But then you also have to upgrade the firmware and such for UHD discs. There is some challenges
there
go
are
with that.
still
So-
some technical challenges. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
and
That's
I'll take
why-
a step back. A few comments. Sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
No,
buddy.
go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm going to take a step back for a couple of messages from Kevin. Like, you're 100% right. So he's saying you're paying for the convenience of ripping discs, not having to go through make MKV metadata structure. That's 100% Kscape. Like 100%. Like, I don't have a problem paying for a movie. I really don't have a problem paying for a movie. But if they advertised it, and I'm going to get a little into personal feelings here, they advertise it as quality, and I think I may have brought this up in the past. They advertise it as quality, and I've gone to shows, and I specifically did this for which one we meet at Ike? Is it Cedia? I think it was Cedia a few years ago, right?
Yeah.
So I went to Cedia, intentionally watched the first Dune movie the night before on UHD, so that I would remember it. Went directly to Kscape's booth, asked them to play Dune and a specific scene that I demo for Dune, and literally couldn't tell a difference. So yeah. Anyways, I'll digress and say it's convenience.
Yeah,
If they advertise it as convenience,
even if it is better, like depending on where you're at, it's the convenience no one can argue with. It's plug it in.
Yeah, right.
You go, right?
So
But
even in the projector room that Paul and I was in, we were looking at projectors, and Eric, I'm not discrediting you in any way, but when we were in the projector room and we had two projectors side by side, and if you were off angle rather than being in front of the screen, one of the picture actually looked like it was the one in front of you looked like it was more in the forefront versus the picture that was, it looked like it was further back on the off viewing angle, until we actually got up and moved our seat and looked at it right there. It looked, then we can just determine. So, for unless you have those two things side by side, it is very, 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 very hard to compare them. And
even if you do, even if it's better, right? We already know with science that this is the reason 8K is not taking off. You can't tell a difference right now. There's just not enough size. So even if Kscape's twice as good, you're not going to be able to necessarily tell until you start getting into, which is why Kscape's priced the way it is, 300, 400, a Christie projector. Then, maybe everyone would look at it and be like, oh yeah, oh God, I can totally tell the difference. But I'm never going to have a 300.
Yeah, which is something that, and
no one's done that, right? No one's
you
done
can
that.
you can make that zipper flap, Paul, that'll let you go through your hallway.
Yeah,
and I think that's, Paul, you make a very interesting point, because a lot of people that get to like Mwave and CD and other places and get to experience the Kaleidoscape also get to experience it with those very high end projectors, and 9 out of 10 there's a mod VR in the mix.
Let's put it this way.
So most people who would buy it and take it home, so you go to Mwave, you see the Kaleidoscape, but there's a mod VR and there's a 380,000 GTZ projector, right? But then you buy the same Kaleidoscape and you take it home and you don't have a mod VR and you don't have the same
Yeah.
projector. So
Let's
what's the quality difference?
Here's my nail in the coffin for
Right?
this whole discussion.
What's the quality
We were
difference?
we were at Mwave. Anthony Grimani's room to do. If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me.
Oh wow!
Look, Shane Lee in the house. What's going on, Shane?
You know,
got
I'm like,
our
hey,
very
if this
first
man's
super
using this
chat.
to do, it's probably good.
Wow. Okay, so this is my very first super chat on YouTube. So thanks, Shane Lee.
Oh man,
I don't even have anything. I don't even have all the special effects, but thanks, Shane Lee. I'll definitely say that. But I think Don already knows, right? I've been reviewing one for the last 2 weeks, and that's where I'm going to stop. But it's convenience. It's great. It works really, really well. That's one thing I can say is that damn device just works. You know, and I got to sit there and just watch 4 movies straight. That's what I spent my Sunday doing without having to, you know. And yeah, quality is good. If your source material is good, your source material is good. But what Paul said is what I still allude to, right? Refer to is if you go to Mwave, if you go anywhere, and you see it in motion, right? There's usually a Mod VR in play. There's usually a very, very expensive high-end projector. If you bring it home and you don't have those, you know, you don't have the Mod VR, you don't have the GTZ 380, you know, or the Christie. The question is how much difference do you think your quality
$5,000 car, you know?
Yeah, how much difference do you think your quality might change? I tried to observe that in the last week. I don't think there was much of a difference, but then Mod VR lovers will come at me and say, no, you know, there's no way my NZ7 still makes the same Kaleidoscape look good, right? So it's like, does it look really better because there's a Mod VR involved?
And it's diminishing returns. It's really diminishing. And here's what I've learned in talking to, again, going back to Build Montage Server, and I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of people and given advice and had lots and lots of conversations. And then going through the multiple iterations of my theater room, it's diminishing returns are different for everybody. That's in my mind, that's what it comes down to. That's why I have DefTech speakers. If I can't tell a difference between my speakers up until I get to a Sendo, why the hell am I upgrading unless I can afford a Sendo? If I can't tell a difference between an Epson LS12000 and an NZ8, why would I upgrade from an LS12000 to an NZ8? And again, it's different from everybody. Everybody's got different audio file perspectives.
You're not gonna get the home theater street cred, man. You got to have that NZ8 to get the home theater street cred.
And all of that is bull bleep because it's individual. It's individual. Everybody's different, right? Like I've gone to all the same stuff that we've all gone to, but for me,
if you think my theater sounds bad, you just haven't had enough beer in the fridge. That's all that boils down to. Drink another beer, bro. Something's wrong with your ears.
100%.
Yeah, but I'm excited. Let's see what they have coming out for us next week. You know, hopefully it's not just some type of software update, but it looks like a hardware refresh, and I've had one in the house in the last 2 weeks. I'm enjoying it. It's a great device, and it just works.
Yeah, like that's always been it just effing works, right? That's my biggest.
I mean, there's something to be said about something where the only complaint is the price.
Right.
It's like, well, okay.
It just
and
works.
People that can afford it, okay, hey. If I had $1 billion spending $10,000 on a player versus spending a week, building a NAS and starting to do movie conversions, yeah, I'd spend the $10,000 without a doubt. I'd be like, dude, I ain't spending a week sitting.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? I got too many
Yeah,
Well, I
Eric,
mean,
Eric, you should come visit me so we can watch a couple of movies on it, and then you might end up with one. That's all I'll say. I think it's convenient. It just works.
It's
It's
Eric,
great.
I think for if you have plan on having people over and wanting to demo and do all that stuff like that, I think that the ease of use and just using and that's why all the dealers and everybody else use it just because of the ease of use when you go to these type of shows. That alone is worth it to me,
That is pretty
and
cool because when I was at Ryan's, I asked him about like the Sonic, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know that one." I mean, he didn't know but it's so the super popular ones, they already have, and he's like, "Oh yeah, there it is," and he played it.
yeah, no,
It's like, oh, that's awesome.
they have all the scenes. They have all the scenes,
Oh well,
already preset
we
and everything like
got
that.
another super chat from Eric. Dude, I'm coming next week Saturday, man. We already scheduled. Look, I'm going to Eric's house
That's
next
your
week
gas fund,
Saturday.
is what that is.
Appreciate the gas fund and the McDonald's
That's
fund.
horrible.
I'm
I wish
sorry,
So,
Paul.
I lived closer.
You
I
know,
would
I
come.
made him start laughing immediately because I was like, I was muted, but I'm like, I'm sorry, Paul. I shut you down right now,
Oh
dude.
no,
man.
no!
Sorry.
I
Oh,
nothing. I'm not offended at all. I think that's
oh
hilarious.
man. Yeah, but yes, I'll be going to Eric's house finally next week Saturday. So,
I don't know, man. I think he needed to pay
and
more. The gas is pretty expensive down
man,
there.
gas is pretty expensive, man, and travel
It's like, man,
insurance,
you only paid him to get there, not to get back.
and all that,
Hey,
man.
hey, Eric,
Well, he just
I saw your video, or I saw Tony's video that he put together. You guys had some great footage that you guys put together there. By the way, for that, so
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know if you need Ike to come finish it.
I know, right? You could just send that thing to me, man. But hey, shout out to Tony, man. Thanks, and
Yeah.
Eric too, man. Appreciate the shout outs and the feature on that his Mwave video. So
That's awesome.
Tony's good people. So
Yeah. We got to get Tony to join the show. He's probably
yeah,
about the
it's
same
probably
time as
about
we are now.
it's probably
He might
about
be an hour
wake
ahead
up.
of us.
I will say I may have said something. Tony's waiting for an invite.
Oh
So
man,
Oh,
Tony,
okay.
you got an open
So
invite. You
yeah,
just
no,
send him the
we will
link.
reach out to Tony formally. My concern
reach
has
out.
always been the time zone, but it's going to be early in the morning for him, so that's good. It kind of
It's
works
actually
out.
not bad. This is perfect. This is actually mid morning for them over
Yeah,
there.
so yeah, they're what 18 hours or whatever ahead. They're like 14 hours ahead of
Yeah,
us.
this is
So
actually more
so
ideal for Tony than it is for
then
us. Like,
yeah, so yeah, we'll definitely reach out to him and try to get him on. But Don, I see you're sharing your screen. You want to switch over to the next topic? I think
Yeah, let's just switch over to something that a lot of people have posted on their community chat on YouTube, and it's it cut off the top of it or cut off the bottom of it, but it's
I can get a full screen.
Arando. Can you get that to where it can zoom
Yeah,
in, zoom
let me
out?
get the full screen if I can freaking find it.
hey, team, I got to step out. I appreciate y'all very much. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you again, Eric.
Yeah, man. Make
I'll
sure
be
you,
back
you
next
got
week.
the link. Come back.
It was great
I'll be
seeing
back.
you at the Mwave, so you'll have to come
sure.
next year for sure.
Yep. Thanks, team. Thanks, team.
So I don't know. Are you able to zoom that in or out?
I mean that speaks volumes right there. We know
Basically,
what that is.
basically
Half the
it's
people here know what it is.
Arundel or Arundel, however you want to say it.
Arundel, one of those names that America butchers.
Yeah, they got a new series coming out, the 1528s. I think that took the place of what was it, the 1961s that they had. I believe that's what it took the place of.
I don't know if it's going to take place or if it's going to be a
replace, I should say. I believe that because they discounted the one. Let's see if I can pull.
Yeah,
them up
they
here.
discounted it, but is this going to be a newer, higher end line?
Yeah, you could be correct on that too.
Because they were talking about how this is, whatever, representing the year that Frozen, whatever, opened the kingdom or whatever in that year or whatever in the movie.
Yeah, are you on your website? Is that on
No,
the
I'm
website?
going to do it a different way. Just give me 1 second. Let me go here.
I forget what it was.
There we go.
It might be a superior version.
Because 15,
Yeah,
28, right?
it could be a new flagship. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's been kind of sealed lips on this, for at least from my end. But
I mean, it does make sense that they discontinued the 1600 or whatever you want to call it, and now they're bringing the 1528.
But it looks like it's going to be like, 6 different speakers if we're going by that image, the icicles, right? It looks like.
Yeah, because the 1961s, I think those are the ones that they sold out of. Yeah, I'm looking at their currently I'm looking at their outlets, and they're sold out of the matte black, out of the white 1961s. So yeah, that's the line that they discontinued. But I'm not sure if this is going to be a replacement for the 1723s as their flagship, or if it's going to be, a replacement of the 1961s. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see what they have up and coming. Those speakers. As a matter of fact, Shane, we got to give him some credit here. Shane Lee was one of the first ones to introduce Arendelle to a lot of us. He had them in his theater, and then I think the Villa Man got them next, and there was a couple other people that wound up getting them after Shane did. So giving him some props on what he actually heard and saw there.
So it's going to be a new.
I don't know where it's at, but yeah,
it's going to be a new flagship.
To do with the year and the meaning and something.
Man, they need some in-wall speakers, man.
I don't remember anything once I turned my head left and right.
They need to give us some in-wall speakers, man, or something, man. Because they make really good great speakers. Might as well just go the in-wall route.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of good in-wall options. There's no reason why they couldn't build a backer box on these and do the same thing, Yeah. So I'm interested to see what they're about.
Yeah, man. So they're racking up brand loyalists, right? People love the Arendelle speakers really well. So
yeah, that is. Maybe they plan on making a 1528 and then 3 years from now it'll be a 13 or a 1228, and then 20 years from now, as they discontinue the whole name, they'll be like year 1, series 1.
I'm wondering if this box in the middle.
Man.
You see this box in the middle? I'm wondering if that's going to fit under your couch. Like it's pretty flat right
there. That could just be the center channel.
Yeah, I think they're going to be two sizes of center channels. They're probably going to be two center channel sizes.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be a smaller one and then a bigger one. But
big tower, smaller tower, a couple bookshelf sizes, and like you said, two center channels. That's a good analogy there.
Is that one in the middle an on wall? It's kind of thin.
Nah.
Could be your on wall.
The horizontal one or the vertical one in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what? It could just be a full trope, and it's all
this one right here. If you can see my cursor,
that's a projector. That's none of it's even speakers.
Yeah, we're reading too much into the same thing. We went from the whole Clydescape anticipation and
it could just be.
There's a lot of speculation going on.
You know what it actually is? It could just be that they're selling ice.
I know, right?
That's what it is.
It's gonna be funny after next week.
Like, hey, man, we're just selling ice.
Yeah.
What? Oh, I don't know why you guys thought it was anything else. We showed you the picture.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about Mwave, and we didn't get a chance, Paul, for you to actually make comment on Ryan's theater. I know that you and
Oh.
Rich, you actually got a chance to go to his theater. I saw some pictures of you and Rich sitting by the 50, just chilling. So,
Yeah.
what were some of your thoughts on? And we all know that, hey, he was definitely still tweaking and dialing in. But what were some of your thoughts on Ryan's theater?
Well, Eric kind of mentioned it before, right? I mean, to me, it's a reference theater. It really is. It is a really good sounding theater. I've heard reference theaters. I've heard full Meyer sound reference theaters. you know, I've heard $30 million theaters, and yeah, that's a reference theater. But just like anything, it is amazing. It's amazing in its right, and the room treatment is probably the most impressive part of that room to me. Besides the obvious, gigantic subwoofer that is in the back. That is a showpiece.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
just the
definitely is.
projector, I mean, you get into business, like what I used to do in telecom days is install a lot of the digital lines and all the connections for all this stuff, right? So I used to be first and forefront and get to play, and I even used to install PA, systems for comm systems for your paging and your music and all that stuff. So I mean, yeah, it's you know, you, reference. It's like, yeah, like, no, anybody that doesn't like this is just, it's like, oh, okay, you're just not liking it not to like it. But really the most impressive part to me was the room treatments. It were amazing, and you could really kind of hear that, and to me that's really what made all those speakers sound as good as they were. Because I mean, whenever I was at the Mwave and did the whole, that same speaker line, I think demo, I was like, God, these do not sound good in here. So I never went back. Now some people say, oh, we had to tweak it, we had to do this, we had to do that, and I'm like, dude, I'm paying $100,000 for something. It out of the box, not doing shit, better sound fucking perfect. Sure, you can tweak it to a measurement, but I ain't paying $100,000 for, I ain't buying a car, and then it's like, oh man, the seat's uncomfortable. Oh, well, we haven't adjusted it yet. I ain't buying a Bentley and then saying, oh,
wait a minute, you buy a Porsche and then you go get it tuned.
Well, only if you're racing the motherfucker.
If you're racing, if you're not
but
racing,
that's different.
You better come tuned.
That's depending on the driver. Yeah, and in that case, you're building your own damn thing.
No, we experienced it,
yeah,
and it was fantastic. It was just
it was
very immersive.
Fantastic. Yeah,
I think you mentioned in another show, which I want to speak about in a minute, but you mentioned that the speakers disappeared, and
yeah,
they 100% did. Everything just disappeared in there.
Reference theater. There's no question about it. It's just like, yeah, this is a reference. This is what. I'm not going to say this is as good as it gets, but it's as good as you can expect it to get. You can always make something better to your taste, but, like you said, you buy the car and you're still tuning it, but that's just because of your taste, and the car is over capable, but you tune it to your, style. And that's basically where his is at. It's like, it's as good as it gets, but anyone can, complain about anything, and maybe they want to tune it, or, oh, I want this, I want that. And he wasn't even running the Mad VR yet, I don't believe, in it, and all kinds of stuff. So if you've seen that Christie and you thought it was amazing, I don't even think he was running Mad VR in that thing yet.
Yeah,
It's just pure
that
projection.
light doesn't even need a modifier. Like, I mean,
yeah, it's so bright. You have to tune it down. I mean,
Yeah.
that thing, like you said, I was like, man, that's it's, you could, if he released that thing, you could watch that. And I'm seeing these projectors do that. You could watch that thing and
it's a lower gain screen for that thing. Like,
yeah, like -8, -8 gain. But yeah, I mean, compared to his last setup, I mean, it's 200%. It is. And, you know, if you're interested, obviously, in Ascendo and or Christie projectors, or hopefully whenever he gets his Mad VR set up, yeah, it's definitely worth a visit to check out. I mean,
it was
the room itself, the room acoustics. Like I said, probably the acoustics is probably one of the most impressive things in that particular situation in that room as well. So it was good.
So I want to have a little fun now. We're going to talk about change gears. Well, not change gears, but kind of keep moving forward. At Mwave, I was able to participate in 3 of the theater tours, and I have some pictures and stuff like that I like to share. But I want to address some clickbait first.
oh, clickbait.
So let me address some clickbait here.
Oh,
if
wow.
you can share that.
Did we?
Clickbait.
We did not discuss.
I love it. Is that what we're calling it? Is that what we're calling it?
I want to address some clickbait.
Oh my goodness! I'm looking at the screen share now. Let me bring Scott in before I put it in. Oh my god! What the hell?
Yeah, I already know what this is about, and I think it's hilarious. And you know what? I think the only person that thought that anything about it was you, because here's my perspective. Here's my perspective on it.
Well, hold on.
Yeah,
Let me set this
up. I don't
up.
even know what he's trying to talk about, Paul.
Oh,
let me set this
you
up.
Act like I don't know.
I don't know personally. I don't know.
So if you see what's highlighted down here, it says Don's reaction to Paul's theater after Mwave. Meh.
Right? I think that's hilarious. I think that's hilarious.
And that's the title.
Like that. That's not clickbait. That's not clickbait. You were like, yeah, okay, another reference theater. I've heard 10 of them today. You know, it's like going 0 to 60 in 5 seconds and then going 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. You're like, yeah, okay, yeah. And the funny part is, I never brought it above -15 for Don. I probably should have, because then he probably would have been like, oh, damn, okay, you did this on what budget? Like, damn. But I never did that, because I just don't do that. I'm just like, this is how I listen to it. Right here. But yeah.
So I'm going to share this instead now. So
yeah, I saw it. It was so funny.
You can't see the tab, but you see it's got my picture on the front. Don hears Paul's system, right? So it's a clip.
And you're not even in the damn. You're not even in the damn video.
I love the fact that you know what? Hey, what's this? What do you mean I don't like your theater?
Oh shit!
I didn't say you didn't like it. I just
I saw it. I was like,
you
I better watch this one.
Lamborghini Aventador, you seen them all, man.
Yeah. So
you know?
I've been so busy. Ike reaches out to me. He goes, "Hey, did you see your video?" I'm like, "What do you mean my video?" He said, "Daily Hi-Fi." If you guys haven't subscribed to the Daily Hi-Fi, make sure you go ahead over there. Show Shauna and Joe some love. I'm just breaking some balls here now, but
I think it's funny. Funny.
So I even made a comment on this. I'm like,
offensive to Don, I would have said, "Oh, Don thought my theater was the best thing ever."
So I don't know if we can share this comment. It's like I was like, by the way, who made me the Simon Cowell of home theater judging? So, but yeah, no, I just wanted to
good
address that. Look, I although it was a
Just say
very
it's crap. I'll back you
a,
up,
ve-
man. I've been there too, you know.
Yeah, back him
I'll
up,
back
like
you up, you know.
tell the
Just
truth,
say how
man.
you feel, man.
Don't be holding back, man.
Yeah, no punches
be
held,
holding
man.
back. But I will say that I did have a short time at Paul's home.
Oh, see,
And
that's
he
the
did.
problem.
He
It's
did.
always about the length. It's too short, man. I see. Gosh, he's size queens.
So Paul had some plans, as he mentioned earlier, to go camping. So I'm down at the convention center, and I call Paul, say, "Hey, I'm here." I said, "What's the plans?" Right? This is Wednesday, so I get there Wednesday morning about 9 a.m. and I call him. I said, "What's the plans?" He's like, "Oh, I got a buddy coming over. We're gonna go camping and stuff. We're gonna look at everything that we need to take and all that stuff like that."
This is how cool the community is. I mean, this is a prime example right here.
I don't know this guy. I don't know. He don't know me from Adam. And Paul says, "Hey, I'll have him pick you up and you can bring him out to your place." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Right.
So we got all this. So right after Mwave, we've got this big trip planned, like this week-long camping trip. And I'm like, dude, we're trying to plan this. I got to bring him over. I gotta discuss a few things with him. And I'm like, I don't know what I was doing. I was working or whatever the hell I was doing. I was like, you know what? People know me. I ain't gonna screw no one over. So I said, hey man, I'll just have him pick you up. Don's cool, and he's right down there. He's like, two, So he was like, okay.
Yeah. So he scooped me up. We went out there. And he put on some demos. He put on some demos for me, and I mean, look, man. Paul, I've seen a lot of Paul's measurements and stuff like that he's done before. He shares them in the Daily Hi-Fi after show. You got to shorten that tape measure a little bit there, Paul.
I actually have to use the micrometers.
So, I know that he knows what he's doing. He's definitely got this system. I mean, dialed in to the caliber, to the best caliber that it can be for the room that he's working with. He's in an open floor plan. I mean, and you couldn't even tell. It was great. It was a really good experience. I wish I had more time. I think we spent about 15 minutes demoing, and then we all decided that we were hungry. So it was time to go get, what was it? Jack Stack's barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went there and we got the what was it? Their prime ribs.
Prime ribs. Some people say that's not barbecue because it's a ribeye. It's like
Don. You're getting soft, man. I've been over to Paul's house and that place sucks.
see, that's why me and Scott get along. He's truthful, He's
truthful for
no
once.
punches.
Honestly, last year at Mwave, I was over at Paul's place, and he has that theater. It's nailed in. It sounds great.
Yeah,
hits are nice and tight. Like everything just is clear. And for that open space, open concept like that, to get it that nailed down and that clean of audio, it's impressive. And you did.
Absolutely. Yeah, he did a fantastic job, and I'm sorry for some of these pictures I have here. I pulled them from video, screenshotting them and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but when I walked in, so we've done a tour of was our very first Home Theater Hub episode. As a matter of fact, we've done a tour of Paul's theater, and it was kind of weird to place everything together when you walk in there, right? So I've seen it before on camera, but when you walk in, I'm like, oh, okay, this is where this is. So you walk in the front door, and not knowing that kind of the front entrance kind of ties in to the barcade area. I didn't know that. I thought it was like a whole separate area. and not that there's anything wrong with it whatsoever, but it was just like, oh, okay, this is how this ties in, and it was like, just trying to put all the pieces of the puzzle together when you walk into somebody's house that you've seen pictures of. Like, oh, okay, you turn left here instead of right on camera, and stuff like that. So, but
Yeah,
I mean,
2 years ago, it was like a bicycle, a computer, and a drawer. In that space, you have the barcade.
Yep.
It's
he
amazing
did
the way
a
guy
fantastic
changed it,
job in
man.
that
It's
barcade.
crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
really, really did.
Yep.
I remember going through there prior to you doing it last year, and
Yeah.
you're like, "This is my plan, Scott. What do you think about this?" I'm like, "That
Yep.
sounds awesome."
Yeah,
And
no,
it
he did a
turned out
phenomenal job, and
great.
I just wanted to clear the air that I really did wish that I had more time to enjoy the theater. Enjoyed the theater. I think we might have played 5 or
admittedly,
6
the time
clips.
was cut short because I think I turned on the demo. I was like, oh shit, I just moved all my stuff to my new NAS. So all
Right.
my Zadoo didn't even know about the I was like, oh no,
This is why you need a
all my
cloud escape.
devices did not know about the.
That's
I was like,
why.
oh,
That's
he's
why
like,
you
Don,
need a
I
cloud escape.
I don't have a K-scape, Don. Why
Demo
haven't you hooked me
scenes.
up?
It just works.
Tonight's demo is on VHS.
All you got to do is say the word. But yeah, no, I did want to clear the air from the clickbait that was put out there.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with clickbait. If you know, you know. I was like, yeah, it sounded good. He was like, okay, yeah.
No, yeah, it was. I was
you were
definitely
like,
impressed.
yeah, this is what they want. They want those near fields. Yeah, that's the only comment you made. Other than that, it's like, yeah, okay, I hear everything. It's like, yeah, and we had even mentioned that earlier. It's like once you, and that's where we are partly in this hobby, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? It's we're not even here. Sometimes we're here. Oh, what can I do to impress other dudes? Oh, I gotta shake the whole planet with this one, scene. And they're doing all these boss platforms, 25, 32-inch subs. And I can,
Well, I brought my
shake your
camera
eyeballs.
over to shoot and everything else like that, but we just didn't have time, because
we had, me and my buddy, we were talking about the camping stuff. I was trying to work with you. I was like doing several things.
Yeah,
and
no. Look,
right
I
after
appreciate the
Mwave-
invite out. I appreciate the
yeah.
I appreciate, and I'm sorry I forgot his name. I appreciate him picking me up and
Tim.
bringing.
Yeah, Tim. He's a great guy. Yeah, and he was. I mean, he picked you up without even knowing. I was like, hey, pick up this total stranger, man.
Yeah, he seemed like a great guy to hang out with. Have some beers with and stuff like that. We all had lunch together at, like we said, at Jack Stacks, and I mean, look, he literally, I think he picked me up in the city. We were probably at your house for 20 minutes, and he turned back around and drove us all back to the city again.
Yeah,
so
I forget what movie it is. It was a Tom Cruise movie. His wife was an extra in one of the.
Oh wow!
Oh really? That's interesting.
Yeah. So, and I was like, oh man, we should have her on and talk about her experience in the actual movie production.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, one of these days we'll have that. But yeah, she was just an extra, right? It wasn't like she had a role or anything like that, but she was in the movie. And I cannot remember for the life of me which one it is, but it's a pretty popular one, like Oblivion. I don't remember which it is, but it's not like, if I knew the name, you'd be like, oh yeah, you definitely had seen the movie.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and I hate to even say it this way because I just want to say, it's a great living room theater. I mean, you've done really, really well putting this together. And I mean, we even went down to your basement. I was afraid that you were going to lock me in the freezer down there, but you've got tons of room down there. If you ever decide to go ahead and, make a dedicated room, if that's something that you ever aspire to do. But honestly, I don't think that you need it. This is fantastic.
I never, ever, ever, ever do. There are very few people that use their theater constantly.
Right.
I am in mine because it's not a dedicated, it's,
Yep.
it just isn't, it's, I use it. I abuse it. I mean, my bulb, you were watching it on a bulb with 6,000 hours on it. Every time I turn it on, it says, "Oh, you should change the bulb." I'm like, I'm not changing the bulb until the thing burns up. Why am I gonna change the bulb? Like,
till it pops inside the machine.
yeah, yeah. It's like I ain't even gonna bother. Why? Like, I don't need to. It's like, as long as it works and I can see it. I'm sure when I do, I'm going to be like, oh, I should have changed this a long time ago. Oh my God, it's so much brighter. But
so yeah, just wanted to clear the air on that. If you guys saw that, look, I by no means am a home theater expert. Home theater. I'm not on the parade of home theater homes giving first place prizes.
I gotta say,
Don doesn't want to pick up any extra haters, man. It's like, I already got enough haters.
Like, man,
I don't want to pick up
like,
no
how
random
can I hate
haters.
you? We're friends. Like, we're like, it's like, what? Like, what? I mean, what are you talking about? See, that's why I'm an ace. I mean, I don't mean to be, but I'm just like, nah. He's like, nah, whatever. He just got through experiencing like 10 freaking 130 dB rooms. Like, mine's not gonna be more impressive.
Actually, yours
than
was
that.
the first one because it was Wednesday.
Oh, was it Wednesday? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yours was the first one, which it was definitely a high bar to compare everybody else's to. But to your point, like I said before, and I still say this, that when you're playing movie clips, a lot of times, you wind up, we lose Scott, or you just didn't. Okay, there we go. When you're playing movie clips, there's a very similar sound, like you said, Paul, to theaters that are dialed in, right? So I mean, you get
the same.
You get a very similar
I'm
sound.
The same way.
Now, I watched a movie. I went out and I watched Despicable Me yesterday, the new Despicable Me, and theater looked fantastic. There was I actually posted pictures of subwoofers in the ceiling along the sides, and I think there were probably 10 Atmos channels and probably 20 side surround channels in this theater, but they didn't turn it up. It was hard to hear the voices, and actually the voices sounded off a little bit. Steve Carell's voice didn't sound like Steve Carell as Despicable Me. So it was kind of weird. But and you can pick stuff out like that when something's wrong. But when, to your point, when everybody's tuning them, to try to achieve a flat or maybe just a slightly curved, signal, some of the stuff does start to blend together. And I experienced that at Mwave when we were there this year again. You go from the Ascendo room to the Germani room and I said Germani was the most immersive. I didn't say that it sounded the best to me. It was the most immersive room, right? Because it was hard to pick out a room that actually sounded better than the others because of such high quality out of all of them, right? Yeah. I was definitely drawn more to the Martin Logan room because the Martin Logan is something that I'm familiar with and something that I bought as a consumer. But I was more drawn to the fact that they were doing something different, right? They were actually doing, they were doing spatial audio there, and it was different.
Honestly, that's probably why I like the Ascendo room the best, because they were the only ones that weren't 130 dB of bass and 93 dB of friggin' vocals. I'm like, with my ears bleeding, I'm like, Like, dude,
Yeah, I really
I
enjoyed the Ascendo
I
room as
used to
well.
compete in car audio. This is chump volumes, you know? Like, what do you know, and it still hurt. I mean, you ain't doing that without earplugs in your car, you know, and you're just trying to demo and check out stuff, and nothing against them. It's a fun time. It's amazing. All these things, you have to experience it if you haven't. But, you know, it's just like anything. Once you've experienced it 1,000 times, and it is kind of a necessary evil, right? You know, it's just like Scott Newby, greatest, you know, him and his wife, Scott and Kat, amazing people, best people, you know, some of the best people you ever meet, right? Awesome theater. His theater actually sounds really good, right? And of course, he has that bass, right? And if you've never experienced that, you're just going to be like, holy shit. But if you have been in, you know, competitions where, you know, 180s what you're experiencing, you know, I'm the same way. I wasn't like, you know, oh, this is horrible, but I was like, yeah, this is pretty impressive, you know, like, but I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, you know, and nothing to diminish that, because that is an amazing feat, and you know,
Keeping your house together at that level is amazing.
Yeah, that's probably the most amazing thing. I'm like, how the hell is, like, you know, everything upstairs was rattling, like, and whenever they were doing some of the volume demos, yeah, I mean, the whole house was.
So
speaking of rattling,
like, you don't even have to like scrub your floors. You just put some soap on a brush and set it down. And
yeah, you just get it, and it starts to foam up, and you're like, oh no!
Just wipe it off when you're done.
But I had the most amazing time there, right? And you know what? It didn't have anything to do with the stereo or the theater. It was just the people and the farm,
community.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I for some reason I had it in my mind, because I've been in a lot of vehicles where super loud. I thought, man, to get that loud in that large of a space must just be crazy. Like, there must be so much violent. But it was like, oh no, it's exactly like a car.
Yeah, I think that's what it's
volume
about,
is
right?
volume, and I'm like, okay. Just like whenever you're outside, you know, at a concert, and you're standing 20 feet away from a, you know, stack of 1,000 15s, and you feel that, you know, literal movement on your chest. You're like, okay.
Since you felt that one, and you also felt Ryan's he has the large Ascendo subwoofer, right? That huge wall one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Was there a difference in feel between the two of them?
For me personally, I think that he had
was
that
a reference.
on like
Ryan's
10%.
theater was a reference theater. He wasn't even going for volume. He was going for 100% accuracy.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't even you can't even compare them like that. You were literally just a reference is. Now, don't get me wrong. Whenever you were playing like regular stuff, you know, Scott's, but still, it was a little pumped up. You know, it was like it was about the bass there, and there's no secret to that. The whole tagline is "Bass brings us together." You know, and yes, so everyone was impressed with it.
Everyone smiles with some bass.
Yeah. It's like if you have not experienced that, it definitely you'll definitely have what you'll be like, oh wow, damn, you know, 150 dB is nothing to scoff at. That's for sure, you know. So I can't imagine. I don't know what would happen if Ryan decided to see how much volume or violence could be done with that Ascendo. I would, stuff might fall out of the seal.
Well, speaking of it falling around,
if he makes that subwoofer actually move, other things are going to be moving with it. It might like actually physically shake the couch back and forth.
Right.
Well, the good thing is that, you know,
sucked in and out.
Yeah.
His room, literally, we were standing right outside of his room, and he had a pool table right there, and Ike and I were standing right there, and literally, you can hear a bzz, bzz, something like that, but other than that, you could not hear anything outside of that room.
And
You know,
that's
which was
totally opposite of what it was last time. Last time, I was literally in the kitchen and I was like, holy shit. This was before his upgrade. I was like, holy, what the hell are they playing? Like, everything was shaking upstairs. I mean, we're talking like, I was like, good God, that he's like got that cranked up to like, it has to be 160 dB or something. Like, and then I went down there and I'm like, oh shit, mine sounds like this. What the hell? It was just the resonance that was
transferring
created
everywhere.
through the house. And
yeah.
totally different. Like I said, it went from a really cool, good experience place to, oh, now we have a reference theater. And
At that price point, that's, you know, at least you would expect that. You know, it's amazing. It's, you know, it's something to dream of. It's so good that you don't even have to go that loud, right?
Hey, all I
Like,
gotta say, the moral of this whole discussion is if Don says, "Meh," that's a compliment.
yeah,
That's a compliment. Eh.
Well, I do want to talk about another theater, and that is Chirpy's Theater, Ryan Kramer. I went to his theater, and I'm very easily impressed by aesthetics. And this is not taking from the sound of his theater whatsoever. His theater was awesome. I mean, he literally spent like the last 20, maybe 36 hours getting this theater ready. He said that he didn't sleep whatsoever. So he was getting everything done. His theater, like mine, 3 years in the making. So you know, I'm going to go through some of these pictures, but this is the downstairs of his theater, and it kind of, I walked down the stairs and I was like, oh, okay, this is nice. Nice setup here. It's got a full on kitchen down here with a beautiful bar and wine rack in the back. And then he's got the projector screen, and I was like, oh, nice, okay. Well, this is a picture of his old theater that he had in his old house, and his wife, he just finished the theater, and his wife and him were walking this new neighborhood, and she said, you know, hey, do you want to move? And he just finished this theater, and she was like, you can build a bigger theater, right? So of course he was all in, and you know, he built this theater. But when you walk downstairs, this is kind of like a preempt to the theater, because I'm like, okay, this is cool. Well, this is the side of the bar area. Well, that door back here that you see to the right, that opens up to this, which is that you're walking through the entranceway, and he's got his full on rack on display. He's got the Arcam, several different amps, and then he's got like a poster board at the end of the wall. Well, he's got two poster boards there, and then Cinema Midwest is the name of his home theater. Wait till you see this door that this guy built. I mean, when talking about quiet, with those two doors and that theater playing at, I want to say, 100 dBs, you could hear a pin drop outside. This door alone, I think, was like
I mean,
6
it looks like
inches thick.
yeah, I was just about to
Yeah.
say it looks like 6 inches thick, man.
So it was a solid core door, and he kept adding on to it, OSB, MDF, all kind of stuff like that, you know. And he's got the gasket in the bottom that drops down to make it a full soundproof. But this right here, it just blew me away. I mean, the craftsmanship this guy put into this was just unbelievable. So above the culvert ceiling there is actually a garage. So it's like a floating garage going across the whole entire theater. And what they did was they dug out underneath of it. And he's got pictures and stuff of him digging out from the third row, digging all the way down to he had to put it like a sub pump way down in there because it's the lowest point of his house, and he literally was carrying buckets of dirt out to put the sump pump in this area. But I mean, just a phenomenal job. He and it was kind of funny because I actually booked 3 theaters. I did Jonathan's, I did Sheldon's, and I did who else did I do here? I did one other person's too. Sheldon, Chirpy's, and Jonathan's. And I didn't know, but they all had the JBL line array speakers that Jonathan has. I didn't realize that I booked them. And one thing that I learned is they all sounded a little different in each room. So even though they were the same speakers, they all sounded a little different. This is a 200-inch screen that you're looking at from the back row. This thing actually made me want to trade my 160-inch in right away because it was just unbelievable the immersion that you get from this theater. But I mean, just a phenomenal job putting this thing together. The JBLs sounded fantastic. I know he had 4 subwoofers in the front. And literally he was just tuning everything in. So that'll give you the perspective. That's from Dune. That'll give you the perspective of that screen from the second row.
And it's a 6050, right? An Epson.
Yeah, no. So this was the LS 12,000.
Oh, the LS 12,000, right?
LS 12,000 throwing a 200-inch.
Yeah, I would have sworn before that you wouldn't get. I don't know how much of the HDR, but even if that's SDR, that looks amazing, man.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. I mean, like you said, the HDR. There wasn't enough output for the for the HDR, but the SDR 4K was. I mean, it was fantastic. I mean, this is the menu, for the Apple TV. So there's Todd. He was on the show.
Yep, fellow moto guy.
Yeah,
he's automatically a brother.
But yeah, I mean, he just did an amazing job in this theater. Putting it all together. Let's see. Look at my notes here.
I like the choice of his carpet, where it's not like a real dark carpet, but when the lights are down, it's definitely going to be not visible. But
aesthetics are so hard, and here's the thing, like I have a lot to go. I've done my barcade. I haven't even done my theater per se. I'm the opposite of Don. I'm throwing my shit up and I'm watching movies. I didn't even decor my theater yet, but I'll probably do some painting and some, a few wood stuff, but that's the thing that people remember the most, because once you get to that reference audio, it's like, okay, yeah, it's reference. You get to the point to where everyone's critiquing what you're lacking when it comes to the audio or the video, right? Because that's what it is. It's like, oh, you don't have a Mad VR, or you don't have the 21s, you only have 15s or whatever. But whenever you have a place that looks this amazing, nobody's like, oh, because they're like, man, this is a great experience. That was amazing. Now I would love to have my family or a birthday party or whatever at that.
No, it was gorgeous. So he just just to give you some perspective, the front seat was 9.5 feet away from a 200-inch screen. The middle row was 16 feet away from a 200-inch screen, which was perfect. I'm telling you, it was not too big. And then 22.5 feet away from the back row. And he was running, like I said, 9 of the JBLs. He ran 9 of the JBL, what are they called? The JB70Js. The same thing Jonathan and Sheldon have. He was running those, and then they were then he was using 6 RSL Atmos speakers up in the Colford ceiling.
Yeah, I saw when you were going through the rack, he's running some pro audio gear for the amplifiers. Is that right?
Let me go back to that. Yeah. So I pulled some of these pictures. By the way, guys, if you haven't been to the Midwest AV Experience page after Mwave, there's a bunch of photos on there. I encourage you to go there and check them out. Just scroll down and you can just check out photos. So yeah, so he was using the Behringers, like you said.
All my videos of having a good time there too. So our videos,
yeah.
Anyway. So
yeah, check out the Mwave page. He was using the Behringers, and he's got 4 full Marty 21-inch Krakens in there, in the front wall. So 9 JBL 70. I think there's some CT something J's, and then the screen was a 200-inch Severton screen. Just a phenomenal build. I mean, it sounded great. I definitely put it up against any of the theaters that we heard at Mwave. I mean, sounded just as good as any of those. I mean, just a really, really good job all around. And this is what I strive for something like this, for my theater. I want it to be, I don't want it to be a black hole. Not that, hey, anything's wrong with that whatsoever, but I do like a little bit of pop of color and a little bit of character in the room, So when I'm watching the Super Bowl or whatever else, we're not sitting in the dark watching sporting events and everything else like that. So, but yeah, I mean, I really appreciate him opening up his home to everyone. He had 3 groups. Hey, Benny, what's going on? I'm using some of Benny's photos here, actually. Thanks for providing those. Benny was the photographer, and he did a lot of video at Mwave. So yeah, just a fantastic room.
Yeah, that looks amazing.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean that right there is,
What
yeah,
chairs?
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
No, so these.
Oh, go ahead. What are those?
So these seats were actually, and by the way, I don't know Chirpy's wife's name, but big shout out to her because it was her birthday on the day that Mwave Tours happened.
Oh,
yeah. So big shout out to her for being such a gracious
an
host.
amazing vacation probably right now.
Man, I don't even want to know what the trade-off was for that. It was paid in
blood. So for her being such a gracious host, I mean, she was, excuse me, she brought food down and set up the whole bar and everything for everyone. So big shout out to her and thank you so much for that. But he was telling me that he had these seats custom made because they're actually curved. All the seats are like kind of curved. And he said that he could not find a curved seat with the powered headrest and all the other powered features as with the regular, straight rows of seats that have all that. And those headrests, you can see they fold down pretty far. So you get kind of like the Barcelona feel, but he said that he had them custom made. His wife speaks Mandarin, so she was able to communicate with wherever they got them from, got them custom made. But I mean, they were extremely comfortable. So during the demo, I started off in the back row, and we played some clips, music clip and a movie clip, and then maybe one more clip, and then we all changed. We played musical chairs. Front row went to the back row went to the center row. So we got to experience, the entire theater. I will say the front seat, it was a little too close, but I mean, it's no closer than being in the front row of a regular movie theater. It was still a good experience. If I had my preference, I would definitely sit in the middle row where everything's obviously set up for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I mean, one of the best aesthetically looking theaters that I've been in. So
Yep. And he has the speakers behind that decor, right? They're in the pillars.
yes, so in the gray is the speakers.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wonder how he designed that. That's some acoustic material, but I'm curious what that.
I think he's got a whole build thread. You can probably look it up. I don't know what it is, but you can probably look it up. I think he's got a whole build thread. But I mean, literally, the guy was up for like 36 hours trying to get everything ready. And here I am sitting out front of his house at like, I think that they started at 9 or 9:30. I was like a half hour early. I was like, I'm not going up. You never know what people are doing and stuff like that. But I actually heard that somebody got to one of the guys' houses at like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, dude.
So I see Anthony said something about the screen material. I'm curious, what screen material did he?
So it was a perf.
Oh, the perf screen.
So it was a perf screen. Yeah. So when you got up close enough, when you're sitting in the front row, you could almost see it. Yeah, you could see uniformity, not uniformity, but a little bit of I guess.
Yeah, especially
not
with
the
that
weave.
screen size, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's perf. Yeah, not weaved.
Yeah. And it was a high gain material.
I'm not sure what the gain was, but
Anthony's saying it was a high gain.
I do know it was a Sieverton screen. Sieverton, yeah, 200-inch Sieverton screen. And like you said, I mean, there was no way if you told me that you were putting a LS 12,000 up to light up a 200-inch screen. There's no way I would have believed it. You know what I mean? I'm like, you're never going to get, the contrast that you need out of that. But I can tell you, it looked really good. Looked really, really good. So.
Oh, Anthony's saying he noticed hot spotting. I mean, it could be, combination of the screen size, the throw distance, and the material. So
I see.
And he probably, I wonder if he sits in the front row or the middle. As his reference, did he?
I think it was all set up as the middle row.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah. What's the dimension of that room? It looks deep. It
was like 30 something deep, I believe. It was about 30 deep by like 18 wide, I want to say.
I was going to say it looks like the size that I was planning out for my place.
So the back seats were 22.5. So there was from the screen, and he's got the build out behind the screen. I want to say he had about 4 feet in the back still. So it was about 30 feet, maybe 28 feet, something like that.
Not bad, man.
I'm drawn to the colors. I love the color scheme.
Yeah, the color scheme just, And
Flows really
the
nice.
ceiling design just makes it blend into like.
Yeah, the decor
Yeah.
of this is top notch.
Makes me want. It makes me want to go redo the riser in my home theater. I need to redo
And
mine.
he has
Yeah, I
his
mean, just
own like that's
And
a
I need to
separate
redo mine with the
environment
steps and all
controls,
that.
right?
yeah, I mean, look at the craftsmanship. Oops, I hit the wrong button
And
there.
I like that. I like that design in the front stage, right, with the step and all that. It just looks good.
Yeah, I mean, look at the craftsmanship for the
Oh
perfectly
yeah,
round step and everything else up the front. Just did a really really good job. You know, um, I was really blown away from with it, and I think I know when I took pictures and stuff, I tweeted it out, not tweeted it, but I sent it out on the Home Theater Hub chat that we have.
you're dating
Uh,
yourself. Tweet. What's
Facebook,
tweet?
Sweet.
What's
Facebook
a
messengers.
tweet?
Yeah, I don't even have Twitter, so I don't even know.
Tweet it. So what demos? We got a question. What demos did he use? I assume it's going to be the standard demos, right? Dune and all the good
Yeah,
stuff
no,
out there.
actually, he demoed Dune. He demoed Godzilla -1, which was
Did he
great.
do Top Gun Maverick?
I believe we did. I don't recall off the top of my head all the demos because
Yeah, they all blend together. Yeah.
yeah, we did. I should have took better notes, I guess, but we did.
I guess the question is, was there any demo that's not your standard top 20 demos right now? Because that's really the question, right? Everybody does, sure, there's like the 5 most or whatever, but really there's about 20 or so demos that everybody does.
Yeah,
Because,
one that I got
and
RBH
it's
to
not
do.
bad. It's
I
just
actually
everybody knows them.
wanted them to do a Quiet Place 2, which
Yep.
they don't. Not a lot of people suggest that. They'll do Quiet Place 1, but not Quiet Place 2.
That's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suggested for the RBH room to do that, and a lot of people were impressed with that. The first 5 minutes of that movie is just insane. So
Yeah,
my noise cancellation went off
I
on my
have not
headphones
been
here.
to even this place. Like yeah, like this looks amazing on this one. This looks outstanding.
Yeah, the room gives me a few ideas, but
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
he did a really good job, man. I mean, a really really good job. All right, so I'm going to move on. We're going to move on to Sheldon's room. Now, unfortunately, I have video of this. I don't have as many still pictures for Sheldon's room, but I plan on doing a video for his room. Let me go ahead and start off with the speakers that everyone had in their theater were these JBLs. They're the JBL CBT 70J1s. Jonathan has those. He's got them all lit up with RGB lights and stuff like that. Sheldon has them, and then Chirpy also. So this room right here, I will say, some of the best bass that I heard out of any theater. And he had it set up to where you can. So with this particular room, he had woofers, 12-inch woofers, actually screwed into the seat backs. He had a hover easy. And then he also had, I want to say, he had near field, like a 21-inch or a 24-inch near field in this theater. So great bass. He has, what did he have? He had, so the room was 17 feet wide by 21 feet deep. He had 6 JBL six JBL CBT 70s. For the Atmos, he had 4 RSLs. For the front stage, he had 3 JBL 4722s. Here's where it gets interesting. 1618 stereo integrities.
Wow.
1618s. I said that right. 1618s. So he had, and I apologize, I don't have a lot of pictures of this room. Like I said, I took a lot of video, and I'm going to be doing a video on my channel for it. But this was he was unpacking. This is some of the 1618s that he had. So he had a stack of 4 on each side of the screen. Then he had a stack of 4 in the back right hand corner, and then he had another stack of 4 that kind of faced the opposite wall on the right hand side that he made in like a laundry room area, because there was a walkway that kind of came down that he didn't have room to put the 16 the other stack of 4. So if you see this door here, that's where the laundry room was, and over here he custom made a stack. So 16 of the 1618s. just insane, man. I mean, then he had 7 12-inch drivers screwed into the back of the seats. He had 1 24, and then he had, if I can get to this other picture, this is the Hover Easy. He had 2 12-inch drivers for each seat with an inner tube underneath of it to make it float. You want to talk about a D-box experience without D-box. I mean, it was violent at sometimes. To be honest with you, it was. But I mean, it was a fantastic experience. It really was. Well put together. Had a lot of diffusion, and he actually had a lot of absorption in the room. And I'm, like I said, I apologize. I didn't have a bunch of still pictures for this. This was my first one. I took mainly video here. I should have took more still pictures. But I mean, this room, you can put this up against any one of the rooms at Mwave that was there. So it was definitely a treat. And then he had he had his mini DSP set up in a way that you could actually turn off the seat backs drivers and just experience the Hover Ease, or just experience the near field and not experience anything else, or you can combine the near field with the Hover Ease. And we went through a bunch of demos like that. I mean, just unbelievable bass coming out of this room. So I mean, I appreciate, Sheldon again for opening up his room. And I apologize. Like I said, I'm going to put out a video for this, because I do have a lot better footage than I do of still pictures. But yeah, I mean, just another great experience at Mwave. Have you been to this room, Paul? I know you're in the Kansas City area. Have you been to Sheldon's room before?
I have not been to this room either.
Okay. 16 of them 18s across.
I think maybe he's changed some stuff. This is one of those things where you go to so many and you're like,
right.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know if it is. This might be the one where the chairs, like, and maybe he's changed it since then, where like the Hover Easy like literally shakes you to where you can't even drink your.
Yeah, it could get like that. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. That might. That might. When Dawn like says it's ago. Violent,
yeah.
That's. So yeah. Okay. So maybe yeah. It's just, again, it's one of those things where you've been to 10, 15, 20, 170 dB rooms. You're like, yeah, I don't remember that. But
and those
this doesn't look familiar. Like some of the newer.
But like
Maybe it's just
16 is
new,
just, I don't know, man.
new
Like
paint,
I love
new
this
whatever.
hobby, but I'm starting to question my love for the hobby. Like, golly, 16?
Yeah,
Yeah, Blackjack says 16 of those 18s will cost you about $3,200. Yeah, and that's the thing about
No,
his room.
look,
No,
it can be cheap, but it's still a lot, right? I think
Yeah,
it's
but
not
with
about the price, it's just the quantity at this point, right? It's like some of
yeah.
those Chinese places, right, where you buy like a heap of food for like $8, right? It's like, yeah, it's cheap, but golly, do they have to give you like a pot?
16,
Yeah, no,
I don't know. If you're trying to go 16 Ike, there's a lot of problems with standing waves. You got to double it and go to 32.
I know, right?
Yeah, exactly. You gotta, in order to do waveforming, you have to have at least 16 up front and 16 in the back.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
Don't go cheap on us. When we come
yeah,
down
I
to
mean,
come down to
Especially
where
if
you're
this,
at to your theater, there better be 32 of those things sitting in there.
yeah, and I
golly.
want to say he had 2 projectors in there too. I think he had a JVC and the same one that
Ye-
you have.
oh, okay, yeah. He has an Epson and a JVC.
Yep,
Yeah.
he's got an Epson and a
Okay,
JVC.
yeah.
Yep.
Like at this point, I'll just build an outdoor standalone home theater that is not even connected to the main house.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, for the amount, look, I'm not saying he don't have money put in this room whatsoever, but the JBLs and the seat backs, I think he said he got them on sale for like $75 a piece. They're
Oh,
usually
wow.
around $100.
Oh, I think you got him. Yeah, probably cheaper than that because when they go on sale, you can get them dirt cheap.
That's
like
that JBL sale. That's once a year, right? Is that what he
Yeah,
was
you
using? The
you
JBL?
can get them like $35 a piece. And
Yeah, they're like
Wow.
30,
what they
35
do.
bucks a pop.
Yeah, they're a
Yeah.
12-inch driver. I mean, I'm thinking about cutting my seats open. That's how good it was. Let's just put it that way. Because I thought I actually
And
liked,
I thought
because
he had like 8-inch woofers, dual 8-inch woofers in each one of the seat backs, and the 12s were the
so Jonathan had 8 inches. 8
Oh,
inches.
is it John? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, that's what happens. You get them all mixed up. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Jonathan had 8 inches built into all the seats, along with butt kickers and near field too. So,
Yeah.
so look, I mean, these guys' theaters right here, it's just I can't wait to go back and see the other theaters, because, just they're all trying to one up each other, right? It's
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the One Up Club. Welcome to the One Up Club, right?
So yeah, man, I definitely would love to go back and partake in some of the other theaters that I didn't get to. I know there was one guy that just couldn't get his theater done in time. That, I mean, he was going to have a crazy theater too. I mean, it was just a huge room and a tons of speakers. I can't remember which one it was. I'd have to go back one and look.
Oh, that guy, he never did finish it. You're talking
No,
about
he didn't finish it. Yeah,
that's it was another Ryan, right?
I think so.
Oh man, yeah. Oh, that's gotta, you gotta feel just like horrible because you were like,
Yeah.
oh man, yeah.
Hey, but he'll be there next year, right?
I
So-
can't imagine that.
Yeah, I think probably next year my
He
focus,
pulled it on,
my
he pulled
focus
it
is
on.
just gonna be on home
He's like,
theater
it's
tours.
almost done. It's almost done for like the.
Hey, it's good to know that other people, have taken as long, and I see them on forums too. Some of these guys, the guy that actually, we actually met a guy that's been doing his theater for quite some long time, Richard, right?
Yeah.
I actually met him at the car rental place. he had an Emotivia hat on or something like that, or a shirt. I couldn't remember, but I was like, "Oh, what theater experience are you going to?" Because I rode a bird there to pick up my my car. And he's
You
like,
are bringing up some bad memory. It's like returning your car was. I was
that
like,
was horrible.
dude, I've lived here a long ass time, and I don't know what you're talking about. Car return rental, and man.
Yeah, I could have returned it there. Doesn't mean that Enterprise would have got it back.
Yeah. Okay.
We circled downtown Kansas City Airport looking for a car return.
Okay, there's a downtown airport that's just north of the city, and there's like basically one road that gets into it normally, right? And then you go underneath like this really sketchy bridge area. We're talking, this is the kind of area where most people won't even drive their car. They're like, oh, I ain't driving there. But it's just the way. So I'm like, okay, let's go. And you get there, and I don't know what's going on. There's like construction. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, dude, I don't even, like, okay, I don't know what to do. We're at a dead end. Like, and it's like, don't cross, you know, it's all the construction stuff, right? So then we look it up and we do something else to where it's like, okay, well, let's go all the way around, which is up north, which is several miles. So we literally circle this whole airport, come to this one place that's open. It's like, well, this is the address that it's showing. Pass that and go all the way to a dead end. And it's like, okay, well, there's nothing over here. And then we go all the way back to the one place that's open. We ask them, and like, oh, no, it's back there. And we end up going back there, passing the don't enter sign. We're off-roading at this time. And when I say off-roading, we're off-roading.
Hey, don't get me in trouble. Something that Enterprise can charge me back for.
I know, right? Look, I haven't seen as many restricted zone signs.
Yeah, and
in a 2 mile
to the
space.
Point to where I was like,
I'm looking at Dawn. I'm like, bro, look,
we pulled up to a spot, and I was like,
you got me in a sign. Even
and I was like,
and all this for $40 that I didn't want to pay for hotel parking.
That could have more restricted sign than Umbrella Corporation. Like,
oh man, big time.
I was like, bro, we're getting killed out here, man.
I was like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know. Anyways, we get to the dead end of this construction zone, and I'm like, Rich, go lift that rope. I'm not fucking turning around. We have been everywhere.
Dawn was like, you want to go? I'm like, no, I'm not going out there at this time of the night to go lift no rope.
And Rich goes out. He lifts the thing.
I end up on the news, man. I'm like, then I look and I saw Rich. I'm like, really, brother? You need to get back in that car, man.
Man.
The guard comes out and he's like, no, this place closes like you know, whatever, like 8 or something. Like same time the car rental place. And I was like, oh, and he goes, well, we might be able to return it and something. I don't. Long story short, I was like, might.
Yeah,
right.
That wasn't enough for me to hand the keys over to the guy.
Like, we might return it back. It's like, I know that. That means you guys are gonna party and go jump off of cliff all night. Like, nah. I was like, dude, I wouldn't leave this car here. So then we literally ended up, and then the worst part about, I kind of felt bad. We go back, and we go up the north route, and then I saw you guys ended up having to not go directly back. And I was like, oh crap. Yeah. I looked at Rich and I was like, well, they're going to be another 15 minutes minimum. I was like, that's a detour. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Every road downtown was under construction. I don't know what the hell's going on in Kansas City.
I was like,
even when we tried to do bar hopping, you know, we had difficulties getting to some of the bars and stuff because of the road construction.
There was a few situations where it's like, nah, just go through, you know. But some of them, you know, right? But man, when it gets into the airport stuff, it's like, there's armed guards at airports.
Yeah.
You got to be careful.
Well, look, I had a fantastic time with everyone out there, you know, everyone that stopped us and, you know, said, hey, and, you know, thanked us for actually, you know, putting on the show. There were plenty of people that said that they watched that we didn't know, you know, were actually watching and stuff like that. So just want to say thank you to everyone that does tune in. You know, we do this as a I do it as a getaway, every Thursday night, I put everything down, put everything aside, and especially like
I don't know why I'm gonna do it after Don actually hangs his last piece of drywall. I'm gonna be like, well, I don't.
you're not gonna have anything else to.
Now I'm bored. I'm gonna have to move
Then
on
you
to
then you
something
can
else.
then you can just bag on my theater the whole
He
time.
still needs to buy new equipment, right? Because remember,
Yeah.
he still has outdated ones in the boxes unopened.
Yeah, the truth, he'll hang his drywall, get that fully set, and then still be debating on which projector to turn on. It's like, I don't know, man.
No, it's going up. As soon as I can hang this
I like
screen,
that
it's
newer.
going
I
up.
like that newer JVC. I don't want to.
The
Oh wait,
NZ900
the
is
Lumigen or the Mad VR before I turn it on.
I
Wait a
as a
minute.
dealer, I already looked at the price because Michael actually posted something yesterday saying that his
remote control, right?
his remote control would not work
With the
on the
800.
new on the N800, his Harmony Elite. So he posted. So obviously he's got the 800 in house ready to go. So
Well, I think he's had it, right?
I
Just
don't know if
not
he
been
had
able
it.
to get to it.
Somebody's had it for a while.
I know I looked up.
Just not been able to get to it because of commitments. So
Yeah, I may, I can sell mine as a demo unit. I think it's got maybe an hour on it, from me playing around with it. So yeah, I can sell mine as a demo unit, and as a dealer, I can upgrade for not a terrible amount to the 900. So
you have the NZ8, right?
I have the NZ8. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, just send it over to me.
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
I was gonna say, man.
Write the check.
Yeah.
Write the check.
Just send
I
it to
don't
me.
know.
I'll
When
send
Don
the
says
7
write
to
the
you.
checks, I don't know
we
if I
can talk the
afford anything
difference.
that Don says with write the check.
Oh, Fred says I can give it away.
I think that's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
When I hit a million subscribers, we might think about something like that.
Hey, Paul, you and I need to talk after this. Got to get him up to 1 million subscribers.
We'll have to make it short, man. I've been working a lot of hours, man.
I'm pretty sure Fred has a few ideas on how to get to 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
But let's not go there so we can stay monetized.
Fred, I think Fred broke 1,000 subscribers, I think, this last month. I think he broke his 1,000 subscriber mark.
Awesome.
Fred knows what I'm talking about. He's been working hard at that. Keyword hard.
Well, look, appreciate everybody tuning in. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please send us an email at, what is it, Ike?
HomeTheaterHubLive@gmail.com.
There you go.
And I will put
it. You got one comment. You got to put it up there.
Yeah, I'm at like 10 for 5 years, and yeah, I might actually hit 1,000 before.
You'll probably hit that before your drywall.
Oh man, yeah.
No, drywall will be done by Sunday. So
well, drywall
or hung, not mudded, but hung.
It might not be dry. It'll be dry. Well, you'll call it drywall, but it won't be dry. It'll still.
That will be done by Sunday. I only got like 6 full sheets to hang. So
the minute he hangs the last sheet, there's going to be like some new drywall 5,000. You're gonna get
fireworks to go off at your house.
50 dB. You gotta have it.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Later.